Girl is sitting at her desk, pen in hand, writing something important. As her wedding day approaches, she's drafting a will. It's not a joyful occasion for her because she knows she won't live past the first night. She's planning to end her own life, a choice she sees as dishonorable and shameful. She believed her main job as a princess was to give everything to her country and royal family. Even though she tried her best, she felt like she hadn't succeeded. The last straw was when the royal family agreed to marry her off to Margrave Aubert. She felt like they were using her as a pawn in their political games. Feeling angry and hurt, she decided to get back at them. She planned to destroy the valuable things the royal family had given her, thinking it was the only way to strike back and make them understand her pain. It's the day of the wedding and the princess is preparing herself. Her maid compliments her beauty, while another asks if she's really leaving today. Princess reassures them, saying she'll be okay wherever she ends up. The maids around her express sadness about the situation, and a servant hands her the marriage certificate. She takes it, stands up to leave, and notices the pleasant weather outside as they head towards the door. As she walks away, bidding farewell to the maids, suddenly a voice calls her name with anger. It's Blaine, Leah's half-brother, also known as Prince Estia. Princess looks at him in surprise and comments on his unexpected presence. He blocks her path, swearing angrily, but she insists that he move aside. She warns him that any delay might prevent her from leaving the capital that day. Blaine curses again and raises his hand as if he might hit her. The princess stands firm, reminding him that she now belongs to Margrave Aubert, daring him to harm his own interests. He challenges her belief that marriage will be her escape, promising to bring her back to the capital once he becomes king. With a cold tone, she suggests he can do whatever he wants with her lifeless body. Hurrying into the waiting carriage, she quickly moves away as it starts to roll. She gazes out of the window, feeling a sense of freedom from the place where she had always lived. There's no sadness in her heart because she never truly felt like she belonged there. Yet, a slight twinge of regret lingers as she remembers a young man who keeps occupying her thoughts. He was bold, unpredictable, and enigmatic. Just a day ago, he had departed from the palace, but now he appears before her. Looking out again, she spots him riding swiftly towards them on horseback. He launches an attack on her convoy, swiftly dealing with everyone in his path. She stands up, steps outside, and faces him. He is a Korkan, and she is surprised to see him there. He reminds her of his vow to ruin her life, a promise she seems to have forgotten. Let's go back to how it all began. She receives the order to marry Margrave. Her mother sits her down and explains that as a princess, her body belongs to the royal family. She tries to argue, but her mother insists it's all for Estia's benefit. When she learns she's to be given away like a prize, despair grips her momentarily, but she quickly pushes it aside. After reading the marriage certificate delivered to the palace, she makes a calculated decision. She plans a political marriage to shame the Estia royal family forever. Entering a brothel, she scans the unfamiliar surroundings. Spotting a man sitting alone, she senses he must be the one she's meeting. Approaching him, she asks if he's her companion for the day, and he confirms it. Observing him, she notes his subdued voice. She'd heard men in such places were usually charming and nimble, but this man is different. She resolves not to let it bother her. His identity doesn't matter. He instructs her to follow him. She briefly considers turning back but decides against it. She'd come here with hopes of something romantic and meaningful. They enter a room and he finally reveals his face. Noticing her nervousness, he introduces himself as a Korkan, known for their distinctive hair, clear skin, and sharp eyes. He remarks that it's been a while since he heard someone use the term Korkan, usually associated with barbarians. Korkans are often looked down upon in this continent, called names like barbarians or beasts. They're seen as more animal-like than human, driven by instincts and known for being unpredictable and dangerous. Despite this, they're admired for their physical prowess and striking appearance. Even in Estia, where slavery is banned, Korkans were secretly traded as high-class slaves. She's encountered many Korkans while catching illegal slave traders, but this one is unlike any she's seen before. She wonders if he's truly just a male prostitute. As he starts to undress her, she hesitates, feeling out of place. He's surprised to find a lady of her upbringing in such a place. She explains she's unsure why he's here, but he reassures her that they're simply here to enjoy each other's company for the night, without any complications or worries. She thinks, that's right, we'll never see each other again. If only she could destroy everything in the royal palace. She wishes she could just lose her V-card and be done with it all. She doesn't care about anything anymore. She tells him not to change the subject, that she just wants to spend the night with him and forget everything else. He asks if he should call her master. He gently carries her to the bed and they begin to get intimate. Hours later, she wakes up with him beside her. It wasn't a dream. She wonders if he cleaned her up. She can't believe she went through with it. It was exhausting yet strangely satisfying. She knows she won't forget it. It fulfilled her desires in a twisted way. Now she's lost her virginity and feels like she's compromised her reputation, becoming a meaningless prize. She decides it's time to leave. When she tries to get up, he stops her, asking where she's going. She explains their night is over, but he suggests they go again. Confused, she asks what he means. Looking at his body now, she notices it's unusually clean. Most Kurkens she's encountered have tattoos, so she wonders why he doesn't have any. He catches her gaze and asks what she's staring at. She mentions his lack of tattoos, finding it a bit unusual. He pulls her closer and suggests they exchange questions. He'll answer hers if she answers his. He starts by asking why a bride's purity is so crucial in the Estia kingdom. She explains that in Estia, a bride's purity is tied to the family's honor. The higher her status, the more important her purity is. If a bride fails to maintain her purity, it could legally end the marriage. She had several reasons for giving away her V-card. She couldn't bear the thought of losing it to a much older man, 25 years her senior. It was also a defiant gesture aimed squarely at the royal family, who had treated her like a valuable trophy to be sold off. She wanted to wash her hands of her difficult and painful life, though she couldn't admit that to herself at the time. He asks her if she ever considered running away, catching her off guard. Deep down, she knows the royal family is corrupt to the core and would crumble without her. If she had the chance and someone to help her, maybe she could escape. But running away isn't what she wants. She doesn't want to spend her life on the run. Instead, she's set on revenge against the royal family and more. She feels disgusted with herself for sacrificing so much for a family that never truly cared for her. All she wants now is to complete her final task and end her life. Standing up, she tells him she wants to die. Feeling her pain, he stands up and assures her he'll explain everything about Kurkens without tattoos next time. She agrees, saying it sounds interesting. He tells her to hold on until then casually asks what they should eat. She's taken aback by his nonchalant tone, especially considering they're both naked. Later, she remembered how he had comforted her, promising to share more about Kurkens without tattoos. She had found his casual manner surprising at the time, given their vulnerable state. He brings in a dish, and she quickly covers herself with a blanket. He mentions it's cold and sits down, offering her the food. She refuses, saying she's not hungry. He persists, concerned about her thinness, so she reluctantly takes the food and starts eating. He watches her closely, which makes her uncomfortable, and she tells him to stop staring. He suggests she lie down if she wants, and after finishing the food, he asks if she's satisfied. She replies she ate more than usual. She takes out a coin and gives it to him, thanking him for the experience. He takes the money and kisses her hand, noting her generosity, then suggests they meet again. She leaves, knowing deep down they won't meet again, no matter what he hopes for. She arrives home exhausted and climbs into bed, feeling drained. She remembers his promise to tell her about Kurkens without tattoos next time they meet. It's hard for her to fall asleep. Tomorrow promises to be even more hectic. She reflects on how long it's been since she felt so at ease with someone. In that moment, she felt free to be herself, to express her anger and follow her instincts without restraint. It was liberating yet fleeting. She knows she won't see him again, but regrets not asking his name. The next morning, she receives a document from a maid and thanks her. She needs to organize some papers before a meeting later, plus there's a note on her desk, an invitation to visit the Queen's palace. She decides to go, hesitating briefly at the door. The maid announces her arrival and she steps inside. She enters and calls her mother. Queen greeted her warmly, saying she had been expecting her. Back when she was young, the Queen is teaching Princess Leah Estia's manners. Little Leah tries to balance books on her head as the Queen instructs her to keep still and not appear frivolous. Queen emphasizes the importance of good posture and dignity, reminding Leah she's the princess of Estia. In a flashback, Princess Leah slips and the books tumble. She accidentally calls the queen Ms. Saradina. The queen gently corrects her, insisting she should call her mother. Back in the present, the princess sits at the table with the queen. There are gifts laid out, all sent by Margrave a bird. The queen remarks on their value and Princess Leah eyes them skeptically. They look familiar, like ones she refused, and now they're sent straight to the queen's palace. Queen drapes a necklace around her neck, saying it suits her perfectly, almost like it was made just for her. She praises Margrave a bird's taste. As they prepare to eat, the queen mentions Blaine couldn't join them, joking he's probably off hunting again. Leah reminds her of Blan's promise to catch a fox for her. Queen acknowledges Blaine as someone who cares deeply for Leah, worrying it might make his future wife jealous. Leah takes a sip of her drink, feeling a twinge of indigestion. She recalls what the Korkan said, that she's too thin like a withered tree branch. She wonders if she should eat more and reaches for a piece of food. Before she can taste it, the queen calls her out. Leah explains she was just curious about the flavor. The queen then reminds her that her wedding is approaching, hinting she shouldn't forget how to control her eating. She remembered feeling conflicted, caught between the Korkan's advice and the queen's expectations about her wedding. They're in a meeting talking about the tax reform news. Estia Kingdom, a kingdom well known for its culture and arts, located in the southwest. Great artistes who loved their homeland willingly dedicated their talents for the royal family. Thanks to that, the Estia Kingdom became the beautiful and magnificent place it is. However, despite its appearance, within royal family is quite corrupted. The royal authority is at its rock bottom. Margrave a bird who keeps the Korkans at bay, wills the military power and financial resources of Estia. The royal family gave their princess to him without a second thought. They may be in momentary confusion due to the sudden tax reform. Although to ensure that there won't be any problems when she's away from the palace, this is for the best. It'll end up being in the hands of Blaine, but for the sake of innocent citizens. Princess Leah is sitting and listening to her advisors talk. One tells her that opposition from the nobles is not something to be underestimated, especially from Margrave a bird. He goes on, telling her that Margrave a bird has used the Korkans as an excuse and requested for a reduction in the tax duties imposed on a bird Margraviate. One of them replies that his greed knows no bounds, that an invasion from the Korkans would save them more finances. The princess tells the man that they need to verify the necessity for tax reduction in a bird's Margraviate and make a proper decision. He replies that he'll do it. Baroness Sinel enters the room calling on the princess. The princess asked what happened and she said they just received a letter from the Korkans. She reads it to her saying that if Estia was willing to make peace with the Korkans, they'll send envoys for a friendly settlement. It read that the king of Korkan wishes FO visit Estia with his envoy. Korkans are said to have the blood of beast running in them. Some even claim that they inhabited the continent long before history's first records. They live in groups and roam about the western desert, usually near bodies of water. Each tribe of the Korkans represents the blood of a different beast running through their veins. The biggest and notorious tribe is the one ruled by a single yet powerful sovereign, the king of the Korkans. Many kings fear the threat posed by the Korkans. As such, they were accused of being barbarians by the nobles. However, there was another reason for their contempt for the Korkans: its predatory marriage. Korkans value their partners greatly, so if one sets their eyes on someone as their partner, they'll do anything to take them along. In the past, the Korkans have been subject to great criticism due to the nature of the predatory marriage. On the surface, it was a perfect excuse to take action against the barbaric deeds of the Korkans, but in reality there was an interest of the noble cities to capture Korkans, since they could be sold as slaves for high prices. However, when facing the unfamiliar climate of the desert and the overwhelming tactics of the tribe, usually these efforts ended with a defeat of the nobles' forces who had to retreat. And after a long and painful war, they decided to make peace with the Korkans. The Korkans used to exist as an isolated race away from the rest of the world. Countess continues, telling the princess that the king of Korkans said that he is going to return with a military force to face the Estia family. Princess wonders why the Korkans wanted to interact with the noble families, if it was to cause conflict to satiate their love for war. She has heard that the current king slaughtered the former to take the position. She knew it. A man that fierce and violent wouldn't want to make amends. The Estia's family territory shares a border with the Korkans, so if war breaks, it's going to be a massive bloodbath. She looks at the letter and thinks that they need to come up with a plan right away. And also, when it comes to the king of Korkans, they can't let his handsome face fool them or those radiant golden eyes of his. They might not know what they have in mind, but she still doesn't understand why he was visiting the brothels of Estia. It doesn't make sense. Princess asks the countess what her father said, and she replies to that he said they have no choice but to accept the king of Korkans' demand. It is obvious to the princess that the noble families wouldn't want to lose this opportunity, especially the Abird family, which is famous for the traffic of Korkans. Margrave Abird himself calls them savage, saying they're just scum. She's glad that the king of the Korkans didn't meet a man like that. She guessed they don't have any other choice. She tells them to prepare to receive their special guests. The new king of the Korkans and Count Abird will finally have a duel after their factions have been in conflict for years. Now the peace that was barely maintained until now is about to be broken. Late at night, the king of the Korkans, Lord Isha Khan, stands outside the kingdom of Estia. He thinks about the princess. He feels that she looks more thinner than when they first met, saying that she must have gone through a lot. Haven. His servant comes to him and tells him that the letter has been sent and a reply has been received, and the preparations have finished. He asks what they should do now. Lord Isha Khan is still deep in thoughts about the princess. He remembers the night he spent with her. He calls it unexpected. He just wanted to confirm an old memory of his. Just by looking at her for a moment, he could already tell that his attempt of trying to shake off those memories of her were in vain. He was willing to use past debts as an excuse to make it look like a favor, but the plan had changed. It changed from the first time he heard that the princess was looking for a playmate to spend the night with. As a noble with a bunch of eyes behind her, he thinks it was normal for her to look for a way to satiate her libido behind everyone's back. That's not anything to be surprised about, but what really took him back was the fact that she went to the extent of claiming that she's a prostitute, even though she was clearly so afraid and clumsy. It must have been her first time. He recalls when she told him that she wants to die. His servant replies that she might not remember, that it happened a long time ago, and also the Isha Khan that she met back then has changed a lot. Isha Khan replies that that must be it, that first of all they should visit the princess. It's the day to receive the Korkans. The maids are dressing the princess up in her chambers. They set out, saying that they have to go and continue with the preparations. The princess is deep in thought. Everyone is busy preparing the banquet to receive the Korkans. It's been more chaos, more nobles than they expected will he attending too. She's sure it's because they want to see Count Abird and the king of Korkans meet. Count Abird may be a long-time ally of their family, but they have to make peace with the Korkans. If they can end the conflict, the Crown Prince Blaine will be established. She overhears the maids whispering and asks them what they're discussing. One of them jokes about the king of Korkans falling for her at first sight. Princess decides to leave the room, but she slips and almost falls. The maids rush to help her up. She realizes she hasn't eaten much today, but figures she can hold out until the banquet starts. She knows everything must go perfectly with no mistakes. To break their shackles, even if they're more than able to do so. They don't break the shackles because they feel comfortable wearing them, and not necessarily because of love or fear for their keeper. It's just because it has been tamed for too long. Even though they have the strength to break the shackles, they don't have the will for it. In their heads, it's just simply not possible to do it. Even after deciding to die like Leah, just like Leah was still afraid of the queen, the image of their captors haunt them constantly. She walks slowly to the palace. The king is sitting with the crown prince standing beside him. She greets the king by prostrating. She wants to finish this up quickly. The nobles are all there waiting patiently for the king of Korkans. Finally, he comes with his convoy. The princess is surprised to see him. He introduces himself as Isha Khan. The princess looks on. As a prostitute, she gave away her virginity to the king of Korkans. How did that happen? Did he approach her intentionally because he knew who she was? She wonders if he knew her identity right from the onset. The fact that she lost her virginity to him and that she told him that she wanted to die, she wonders what she's going to do if he decides to use that information to manipulate her. She concludes that for now, she should calm down. The king of the Korkans looks at her. The crowd murmurs. They notice that he is looking at the princess, wondering if they know each other. One comments that they suit each other, another shuts the other one up, saying that he might cause the princess to go into a predatory marriage. King of Estia welcomes him to the kingdom. Isha Khan smiles and thanks the king for the reception. The princess looks at him. She can't believe how well Isha Khan is pretending to be happy here. The Korkans and the Estia kingdom have been enemies for a long time. Could it be because of her? However, she thinks he sees her more as a weakness on the enemy's side, because of her dumb actions. She tells herself to stay calm, not to show that she's flustered. Isha Khan walks closer to her and she raises her hands towards him, introducing herself as Leah Duestia. Isha Khan kisses her hand, she's surprised. As Isha Khan kisses her hand, she's speechless. She wonders what to do at that point. King tells Isha Khan to enjoy the banquet that has been prepared for him. Isha Khan replies that he will. The princess turns and runs away from the hall, defying other people's call. She keeps on running until she got to a dark corner. She stops to catch her breath. She wonders why Isha Khan kept staring at her throughout the welcome ceremony. She thought they'd never meet again. She recalls him telling her that her payment is generous, offering to meet with her again. She's not happy, though she doesn't know what to do. The next day, she strolls through the palace grounds with her maid, trying to distract herself. She couldn't sleep at all last night. As they walk in the garden, she spots a moonflower and predicts when it will bloom. Suddenly, her gaze shifts and she notices someone by the pool. It's the King of Korkans, smoking. A maid whispers to her that he's the Korkan King, known for enjoying tobacco for its spiritual significance. She wonders if it smells as sweet as it's rumored to. The maids ask which way they should go just as Isha Khan looks up and sees her. She tells the maid they should leave, but Isha Khan swiftly stands up and grabs her hand, pulling her closer. He asks where she's headed, insisting they need to talk. The maids are shocked and tell him his behavior is rude. The princess squirms free and reminds him that in Estia, it's considered improper to touch a royal without permission. She politely asks him to respect Estia's customs while in the palace. He responds, questioning if he's made an error, explaining that hunting is natural for Korkans and when someone turns away, it's instinct to pursue. She wonders if he sees her as prey. He then surprises her by requesting a tour of the palace. She hesitates, knowing that accepting could spark rumors by tomorrow, perhaps even tonight, that the King of Korkans had set his sights on her. Despite this, she cautiously takes his hand, much to the astonishment of her maids. She instructs them to return indoors, explaining she must attend to her guest. As they stroll around, she guides them away from crowded areas. Curious, she asks him outright if he approached her knowing she was the Princess of Estia. He counters with a question of his own, asking what she'd do if he admitted he did know her status. She asserts that she wants to understand his intentions, if he aims to exploit her vulnerability. He then suggests she call him by his name instead of addressing him formally as the King of the Korkans. She finally calls him by his name and he responds positively to it. He mentions he'd like to receive similar casual treatment from her. She asks if he'll treat her like a proper princess, clarifying she'll show him respect as the King of the Korkans. She suggests they leave their encounter in the brothel behind them. He wonders if she'd stay mad if he didn't agree, but she insists he's free to do as he pleases. He agrees to treat her like a princess in public, but then unexpectedly makes a rude comment, calling her a dirty woman instead of a naive princess. She tells him to stop using such words if he expects her to act like a princess. She also warns him not to touch her body without warning, but he ignores her, holding her hand and noting she seems thinner, asking if she's been eating properly. She wriggles free, saying that that's what she was talking about. He calms her down, telling her that they are alone, so there's no reason for him to treat her like a princess. She tells him that he wants him to stay quiet about that day. He replies that he's not sure, asking if she doesn't have to do something for him. She looks on, surprised. Quickly, he puts some fruits in her mouth. It's sweet. She wonders how long it has been since she has tasted something as sweet as this. He tells her that she has to spit out the fruits. Sticking his hand into her mouth, he tells her that it's a dry date palm fruit, asking if it's delicious. She is so hungry that she ate it all without realizing. He puts another into her mouth, telling her that he only needs one thing from her, which is to eat everything he gives to her. This is the type of food that she's not allowed to eat here in Estia. The few times she has tasted Korkan cuisine were from the slaves. She wished she can eat a little more, but she already ate too much. She have to be prepared for tomorrow's banquet and follow the preparations of Saradina, if her stomach gets bloated because of this. She tries to remove it from her mouth, but Isha Khan is faster. He collects it and throws it away, saying that since they're seeds, he'll just put them back in the soil. She looks at him. Everything he does makes her feel so embarrassed. It constantly shakes and disturbs her peaceful life. No matter what he does, it feels dirty to her, although she doesn't really hate it. He comes closer and gives her a can of sweets, telling her the Korkans believe that sweet things drive away evil spirits, but they also like sweets too as a habit. She looks at the gift. Judging by their appearance, she would have thought that they just eat raw meats, yet he carries something like this around. She refuses to accept it. He asks to know why and she replies that it's because she's skipping meals. He asks why she's doing that. He concludes that he doesn't think she's doing that for herself. He holds her shoulder and she shakes his hand off, begging him to promise her that he won't treat her improperly in the palace. She tells him to forget the night in the brothel too. He replies that he'll need her to be more specific, saying that he doesn't understand her since he's just a barbarian without much education. She tells him that she meant things like grabbing her arms all of a sudden or putting his fingers in her mouth. He smiles and asks if she wants him to give her more, saying that when he put it on her before she seemed to like it, he comes closer to her and she's terrified. Someone calls Isha Khan. She sees Blaine, the crown prince, walking towards them. It wasn't that she was estranged from Blaine from the beginning because she was very lonely back then. She was very happy that a boy her age had become a new family member back then. She believed they could truly become a family. Back when they were little, she searches all over the house for Blaine because he's skipped class again. Finally, she finds him hiding under the table. Concerned, she asks why he missed class, explaining his mother was worried. He confesses he doesn't like studying and prefers hunting. She sympathizes with him, admitting she hates studying too and believes no one in the world enjoys it. But she encourages him, explaining that the smarter and more knowledgeable he becomes, the more he can achieve in life. Curious, she asks if he has things he wants, like toys or treats from faraway places. He eagerly nods yes. She advises him not to give up but to work hard to achieve his desires. She promises to support him always and asks him to remember that. Looking back, she regrets making that promise back then. Fast forward to their teenage years. They're walking home from school when he suddenly grabs her hand tightly, causing her pain. He reminds her angrily that he warned her not to interrupt him when he's speaking. He demands to know why she embarrassed him in front of their teacher. She tries to explain that she was only trying to help, but he cuts her off, insisting that if she truly wants to help him, she should just keep quiet. Feeling hurt and frustrated, she tells him she understands and promises not to say anything else. She quickly walks away from him, feeling upset by the encounter. Then back to present, he comes closer to the princess and Isha Khan. Isha Khan greets him. He replies that he doesn't know what the customs of the Korkans are, but in Estia, it is generally frowned upon for unmarried women to be with a man. He turns to the princess, addressing her as Nunim. At least he's polite when the king of Korkans is here. He only calls her Nunim when he feels like it. He tells her that he was looking for her to have a talk, saying that they should go to a quiet place. He holds her hand and drags her with him. Chikhan looks on, wondering if he should help. She doesn't want to be dragged away. She wants to ask for help, but can she really trust him? After all, he is the king of Korkans. Prince keeps dragging her against her will, going further until he finally stops. Frustrated, she asks why he's bothering with that jerk. She pleads with him to ease up a bit. Angrily, he shoves her away, causing her to stumble and hit her back against a tree. He warns her not to act flirtatiously in front of the Korkans, asking if she understands. She stands with her head down, her back against the tree. Prince Blaine tells her not to worry, that he won't tell anyone, not even Margrave. He tells her that she's good at arguing, someone who likes to hide in her room like a baby. He asks why Isha Khan likes her, asking if he wanted her to sleep with him. She replies that nothing happened between them, that he was just curious because she is Margrave's fiancé. Blaine tells her not to move, not to go out alone like that. Princess is in her room with her maid. Her maid asks her what happened earlier between her and the king of the Korkans. She replies that the king was just curious because she's Margrave's fiancé. The maid is glad to hear that. She tells her that she was worried because she left just like that, saying that he is a cruel and ruthless person and his eyes are just... The princess cuts her short, telling her to cancel all her appointment left, that she'd just want to stay in her room and read the documents. She tells the maid that she's fine, that maybe is because she didn't eat at the banquet, that she's a bit tired. He tells her not to let anyone in until the next day. The maid excuses herself, wishing the princess a peaceful night. Princess wonders if Blaine will tell Saradina about today. Saradina won't let her get away with it. Her stomach grumbles. She is still not eating. It seems like her headache is getting worse. She sits close to the furnace, looking at the fire. She wants to die after this state event ends. Korkan will return. If she gets there, everything will end. Then in the end, A sound distracts her thought. She wonders what it could be. She walks to the balcony. Then she sees Isha Khan, who looks like he's coming from the sky. He greets her and tells her that her pajamas is too cute, asking if she sleeps with it. She asks him why he's doing that. He walks to her and carry her in his arms. He tells her that he have a question. He asks why she didn't ask for his help earlier. She wonders if anything will change even if she asked for help. She even thought about giving up and dying, wondering what he can do for her, wondering if he can end her horrible life. She asks if he can guess the reason. He tells her that he doesn't know. He goes ahead to say that the Korkins are simple. If they don't like something, they'll say no, and if they like it, they'll just say so. She begs him to leave and he carries her and she screams at him to let her go, that he should leave her there. He replies that he doesn't want to. He goes ahead to jump down from the building. They go down to the floor. She thought he was capturing her, however, she feels happy about it. He tells her that since her silver hair indicated that she's from royal family, he gives her a hoodie to cover her hair so that other people won't start following them. This doesn't seem like what she expected. He tells her that if rumors about them start to go around Estia, it could cause a lot of problems. He says he wants to go sightseeing around the empire, but a countryside tribesman like him doesn't know much about the empire. That's why he decided to bring her with him. She tells him that she can't believe he snuck into the castle just for this, saying that he have guts. He replies her that he does, that he's used to sucking into enemies' camp base. She tells him that it takes a lot of courage for one to do that things would have gone bad for him. He replies that he has done that before, so it isn't a big deal. He tells her that there'll be a banquet in her honor the next morning, so he'll bring her back before sunrise. Until then, she's going to have some fun with him. He takes her by the hand and they move into the street. She looks in awe. It's the first time she's seeing this type of place. She wonders if people like this come here every day. He buys her a steak of meat and gives it to her, urging her to eat it. She collects it and he says that he thought she wouldn't want to eat anything else he gave her. She looks at the meat and thinks, tomorrow she'll have to wear the dress that Sardina prepared for her. She shouldn't eat anything after enduring this much for it. She feels she's going to gain weight if she eats it. She looks at it again. It's tempting, just one bite. It's delicious, it's savory and sweet at the same time. He asks her if the Estia family doesn't have any money. He says that just by selling one painting in the mansion will be enough to buy her food. She eats it at last. She ate the whole thing without realizing. He looks at her concerned and she tells him not to look at her that way, that she has a dress to wear the following day. He touches her lips and tells her not to worry, that she'll fit in just fine, saying that she only ate one meat sewer, that it won't make any difference, it's going to be fine. She looks at him. She wonders why he keeps trying to break her guards down. She wonders why he keeps trying to see through her. She never knows how to react when she does things like that, but it seems so natural for him. She asks him if he's truly being nice to her or her just needs a companion for the night. He smiles and asks what she meant by that, if that's what she was expecting, saying that he guessed he was being too naive about this. She calls him and he cuts her short, coming close to her. He asks her if she wants to do it. Still holding her, he tells her that if she really wants to, doing it outside isn't a problem. She couldn't believe what he said, being intimate outside by the street. She tells him to wait. She turns around and sees people. She tells him that he can't do it here. He brings his lips closer to her, telling her that he had told her earlier that when it's just the two of them, she wouldn't have to be the princess. His lips is almost colliding with hers. She has lived like that all her life. She wonders if it's okay for her to do that. She tells him that she's crazy. He replies that well-bred women are different. Usually in a situation like this, she would call him a crazy person. She looks around. She wonders what she's doing. The most dangerous opponent is near her. She wonders what she was actually thinking when she accepted to come here. Peace? War? Or maybe... He cuts her short as he looks around. He notices that there's some Tamari there. The princess have never heard that name before. He tells her that in Estia they call them gypsies, but the Korkins call them Tamari. He doesn't like it. Gypsies also avoid Korkins. Gypsies can live freely anywhere, doing anything to earn a living, singing, dancing, astrology, crafts, and more. They make money by putting on lots of shows, including stealing and prostitution. Places where the gypsies gather were in trouble for a while, and the reason why gypsies can't be eradicated is because they are people who support them. The gypsies know how to use magic. Rich merchants and nobles bought cheap love potions made by gypsies. In return, they keep the gypsies safe. People say something bad will happen if you mess with a gypsy. Isha Khan turns back to the princess and says they should continue where they stopped. He tries to kiss her, but she screams as she sees a gypsy at the window above them. She looks ahead and sees Margrave, a bird with some ladies fondling him. The princess is surprised, wondering why it would be in this type of situation that she'll meet him. Isha Khan tells her that it's too late to escape as he brings the hoodie down, covering her face more as Margrave now stands in front of them. Margrave, a bird, confronts Isha Khan, questioning his identity as the barbarian king. He scrutinizes Isha Khan's appearance and confirms it's him. Accusing Isha Khan of planning an attack on the capital, Margrave expresses distrust. Isha Khan reassures Margrave, dismissing any fears and claiming there's nothing to worry about. Margrave notices the princess standing nearby but doesn't recognize her well. He asks Isha Khan who the girl is, commenting negatively on her appearance, suggesting he's also searching for someone who resembles his fiancée. Feeling ashamed, the princess lowers her head. Margrave insults her, implying he could find a more attractive replacement. He boasts about knowing many women who resemble princesses and offers to introduce Isha Khan to more refined women from developed kingdoms, mocking the Korkans as uncivilized barbarians. Isha Khan laughs off Margrave's insults and clarifies the situation. Margrave challenges him, asking why he's walking around with a girl late at night. Isha Khan turns the accusation back on Margrave, implying he's the one behaving inappropriately, not him. Margrave asks him again what he said and he repeats it. He tells him that he must be deaf, saying that one can't hide one's age. This statement makes Margrave a bird so angry and he calls Isha Khan an uncivilized barbarian. Isha Khan replies that instead of getting a bride 25 years younger than him, he should take care of his own, saying that he's worried for him. He tells him to talk to his conscience while at it. From behind, the princess looks at the girls beside Margrave a bird. She wonders why they look so scared. She doesn't think it's because of the Marquis. Margrave a bird is also known as the Marquis. Margrave is so angry that he abuses Isha Khan and tells him that he would have let him go but he raised his anger. The Marquis soldiers draws their swords. Princess knows that Isha Khan made Margrave angry on purpose in order to interfere with the peace agreement. Isha Khan charges towards them, asking the Marquis if that'll be enough. Isha Khan's servant comes from behind and drags the princess, saying that he wants to escort her because Isha Khan and the Marquis will have a long talk. The princess turns back to look. The servant tells her not to look, that it's dangerous. She defies it and looks. She sees blood. Isha Khan is fighting fearlessly with the soldiers. Princess is surprised. She knew of Korkan's amazing physical prowess, but to see him effortlessly fight against trained soldiers, it's more like he's enjoying it. She feels they cannot stop him with Estia's soldiers. The peace agreement meeting is the last chance they have. They must not go to war, no matter what. Back in the castle, Prince Blaine is drinking at the balcony. He looks worried. His mother meets him and asks if he's done drinking. She tells him that the night is cold, suggesting that they go inside. He asks her if she's going to go forward with Princess Leah marriage ceremony after the peace treaty is singed. She smiles and tells him that once he becomes king, he can take everything as his. He doesn't believe her, saying that it won't be his but it'll be Marquis. She tells him that he doesn't need to worry about anything, that she'll take care of it all. She hugs him. Leah is having her bath in the tub. Maids are around scrubbing her. She's glad she didn't get caught last night. She must be more careful. After last night, it got more clearer. Marquis or Korkans, none of them want peace. The only one who longs for peace is Estia. The central power of the Korkans were split into two due to the fight to the throne. She's being dressed up by the maids. Isha Khan killed the previous king and rose to the top, uniting all the smaller tribes, but she's sure it's still not completely united. In order to organize them and bring unity to the country, the easiest way is creating an enemy from the outside war. She turns to one of the maids and tells her to pass a message across to Count Valtaine that she'll love to see him briefly at the banquet. The maid comes closer to her and asks if she should tell him that it's connected to what's happening outside. Leah says yes. She must find a tantalizing bait so that the Korkans become serious at the peace treaty meeting. She looks at a document so that Korkan and their king are interested. She wonders what he's doing right now. In Isha Khan's residence, his servants are dressing him up. He asks Jenin about Haven's whereabouts, and she tells him he's checking on the banquet, trying to make up for the scene from last night in front of Leah. Isha Khan admits it's hard to keep such things hidden forever, acknowledging that the princess isn't easily frightened, admiring her bravery. He speculates that instead of being scared, she's probably thinking about how to leverage last night's incident for the peace treaty negotiations. He reflects on her fearless nature, noting she's always been that way, even in the past. He predicts she'll be the one to challenge them the most once the negotiations begin. Jenin questions if the negotiations are just an excuse, and Isha Khan admits they are, but lately, his priorities have been shifting little by little. He tells her that it's starting to bother him, and Gamine asks if he wants to stick to the plan of repaying the favor and then leaving. She wonders if he's interested in something more substantial. Continuing on, she suggests that he take Leah as his bride. Isha Khan replies that it's too typical of Gamine to say that. He reminds her that Leah is from Estia, and he shouldn't apply Korkan ways of thinking to her. Gamine then suggests that they focus on the banquet instead. She picks out a piece of jewelry for him to wear. Isha Khan is still being dressed and a man walks in. They exchange pleasantries. He's no other than Count Palatine Valtane. Isha Khan tells him that there's no need to be nervous, that he won't eat him. Count Valtane walks to a sit. He sees Gamine and is surprised to know that she's a woman. He tells Isha Khan that he won't say anything that'll harm Estia. Isha Khan replies that he doesn't want that. One of Isha Khan's servant offers Count Valtane a box of jewelries. He replies that he doesn't want it. Isha Khan tells him that he only wished for them to get along in future. It's the banquet. People have started arriving. They're awed by the beauty of the banquet. They wish they'd have more of that. They acknowledge the savage because of it was because of them that the banquet was made. Someone says that the king of Kurkans and Leah have been acting strange recently. Another replies that he's not sure but he has heard rumors about them being together more often. They wonder if the king of Kurkans and Leah are having an affair, wondering what Margrave a bird will do about that. While they're gossiping, the Leah walks into the hall. She notices that the Kurkans have not arrived yet. As she walks slowly around, someone calls her and she turns to see Count Valtane prostrating. There are only a few people that she can trust. If it weren't for them, she wouldn't have been able to escape. If she play her cards right in this situation, she wouldn't have to ask for anybody's help. She walks up to him and asks what happened. He replies that he almost got murdered, that he went out to meet the king of the Kurkans and he thinks he have found something. He feels they want to take over Estia from the inside, that the way they were acting was so unusual. He tells her that the king said he wanted to be in good terms with him and he offered him a present. She asks him what the present was and he replies that it's 10 rolls of purple silk. Prince is surprised. Purple dye has been one of the most luxurious, most expensive and the most difficult dyes to obtain since ancient times. Even the royal family has difficulties getting purple clothing. Most of the lower-class nobles could also only dream of having at least one purple piece throughout their lifetime. That color has become a symbol of power and wealth. Count tells her that the silk had the most beautiful and vibrant purple he has ever seen, but he tells her not to worry, that he didn't allow them to bribe him with that. Leah is surprised. He rejected something precious just because of her. She can't believe they bribed him with something more precious than gold or jewelry. It wasn't even necessary for them to offer 10 pieces at once. She tells him that perhaps the Kurkans have some kind of technique to produce purple silk easier. She tells him that it doesn't seem like they've reached out with a similar offer to other nobles, but they should be careful. She turns and sees the Kurkans. They just arrived. Isha Khan is dressed richly with purple silk. She looks at him. It must be that silk. She didn't notice that silk last time because of how surprised she was at that moment, but it's very beautiful. It's obvious that their dye technology is more advanced than Estia's. She looks away from him as he comes closer. He asks her why she's acting as if she doesn't know him, saying that he saw her looking at him. She tells him that it's not like that. He lifts her hand and kisses it. He tells her that what she did makes him upset, that he was expecting a warm welcome from her here. She withdraws her hand from his, telling him that there are too many people watching them. He asks if she's angry. She didn't reply. Everyone is looking at them. She have to get herself together right now. She tells him that they've already greeted each other, saying that she'll take her leave now. She walks away. The king walks in and is greeted by the people. The king greets them back, saying that he's happy to have them and he cheers to the prosperity and growth of Estia. Meanwhile, Leah is outside with the crown prince Blaine. The prince tells her that he had warned her about getting close to the savages, wondering how someone as smart as her is finding it hard to understand. He asks if she wants to fall in love with one of them and sell off their kingdom. She replies that she didn't want to interact with them, but the king approached her and there was nothing she could do. She tells him that she didn't have any choice than to respond. They hear the voice of their father, urging the people inside to celebrate the welcoming party. Kurkans have been infiltrating Estia for some time now. If Estia wasn't able to keep peace with them and receive support from the Margrave, they wouldn't have stood a chance against an attack. Blaine should know about the pact with the Kurkans too, but he chooses to act as if he didn't. Well, it seems like she's the only one in this family that is worried about this. He begs her to let her allow her first dance of the night to be with him. She tells him that she wants to dance with her fiancé. He tells her not to be foolish, that she haven't looked at the Margrave once this whole time, that her only objective is to make him agree with a pact, that every other thing is useless. She begins to walk away from him and tells him that if he really wants the pact to go well then he should stop calling them savages first, saying that she doesn't know what would happen in the future but she wants to be honest with her feelings and the Margrave. She walks back to the hall. Everyone seems to be having fun. She wonders why she feels out of place. While walking around, someone calls her. It's Margrave a bird. He asks her to dance with him. He tells her that her party dress looks good on her. It's because the dress is made of super expensive silk, but he sure is good with his words. He tells her that he was very nervous to meet with her, but she looks so beautiful. He tells her that he'll make sure to gift her a new dress with that same silk. The Margrave doesn't seem to be in the best condition today. She wonders if it's because of what happened with Isha-Khan last night. She recalls the words he said the previous night. She feels it's so horrible, wondering how often he does dirty things with women like that. He tells her to allow him the honor of holding her hands. She looks at his outstretched hands. She hesitantly places hers on top. Holding hands with him feels so disgusting to her. She can't believe she'll probably have to do it all night. She hates it. He holds her and hand leads her to the dancing floor. She sees the king of the Korkans up ahead. He stops and tells her to allow him dance one song with her. Leah stands speechless, wondering if he didn't see her walking to the dancing floor with the Margrave. She doesn't think she can switch right now. The Margrave greets him, saying that he remembers him. He tells Isha-Khan that he's Leah's fiancé, and that he might not know since he's from a desert afar, but here in Estia it is custom to have the first dance with one's partner, saying that he's sure a king like him will respect an old tradition, saying that after all, he's in Estia right now. Isha-Khan says that he thought it was a welcoming party for the Korkans, that he's the king of the Korkans, and if he can't dance with whomever he wants at a welcoming banquet for his people, isn't it a bad indicator of how Estia treats their allies? The Margrave replies that it's not like that. He asks Leah what she thinks. She stands speechless. The Margrave releases Leah's hand, leaving her for Isha-Khan, and they start dancing. Leah tells Isha-Khan that he has a talent for getting people into trouble. He asks her if she doesn't think that it's the duty of Leah. She asks why he keeps messing with her. He replies that he doesn't like to do that either. She replies that he says he doesn't like it, but he keeps doing it. He tells her that he was just being nice. They continue dancing and she notices he dances well. She asks him where he learned how to dance like the people from Estia. He tells her that he learned it long ago from someone. He asks if she's curious. She wonders how a man from a tribe like that learned to dance a long time ago. She replies that she's not curious. He tells her that he thinks she's lying. He carries her up. She begs him to leave her alone. He asks her if she still wants to die. She replies that she do. They stop dancing and she tells him that it's an honor to dance with him and that she should go back to her fiancé. She wishes that he can relax and enjoy the rest of the banquet. Isha-Khan looks at her as she walks away. If only she'd ask for help just one time. He wonders if he should help anyway. Leah walks outside, wondering what's wrong with her. She sees Margrave, a bird, sitting alone in the dark, drinking. She walks up to him and he tells her that she seemed to be enjoying her dance a lot, that she didn't even notice. She tries to explain, but he tells her to forget it, offering that they drink together. She doesn't want to drink, but if it's only one cup, she takes it to her mouth. She wonders what the taste is like. It's strange and she doesn't like the flavor. She tells him that they should go back inside. He says no, that they're staying right there, at least till her body gets weak. It's strange, she has a bad feeling. She tells him that she has to go now, that there's something urgent. He cuts her short, telling her to stay there, that she'll need to stay with him until the drugs take effect. She asks what he means and he says that she's pretending to be innocent, that he treated her well because she's a princess, but she behaved like trash, that she fell for that barbarian. He asks her if she still has her chastity that she vowed to keep until her first night. He tells her that he'll have to check it himself, that she'll like it soon. She needs to push him away, but her body won't move. She begs him, but he won't budge as he keeps holding onto her. She struggles to free herself and she kicks him. He frees her for a bit and she runs away. The Margrave guards runs around looking for her. She hides behind a flower. She doesn't want to be caught. Someone holds her from behind and embraces her. It's Isha-Khan. She begins to cry silently in his arms. He takes her to a quiet place and asks her if he should kill the Margrave. She didn't reply. He tells her to wait for him as he is about to go. She tells him not to kill him. He tells her that even in this her situation, she's worried about her family. He tells her to be moderately selfish sometimes. She tells him that she's not worried about the royal family but for Estia, that she just wished that the innocent people of the kingdom doesn't get sacrificed in vain, that no one is sacrificed needlessly. She tells him that she just want to run away from there. She begs him continuously. He turns and faces her. He touches her face and tells her that she seems to want to taste the limits of his patience. He sees her vibrating. He asks her what she ate and she tells him that it's the wine. Her body feels strange. It's been hot and itchy right from a while ago. He brings her closer to him and inserts his tongue into her mouth. He tells her that it seems the Margrave bought a love potion. It's just called a love potion, but it's cheap aphrodisiac. She'll sorcerers are very few, but... He tells her that they'll need an antidote. He asks her to make a choice, asking her what she'll do. She can't reply well. She begs him to do something. He takes her outside in his arms. Margrave guards are still looking for her. He walks quietly in the dark. She begins to shake. Her bottom is tingling too much. Isha Khan asks her if she wants to do it in front of the Margrave, that he doesn't mind. Her body has no strength. They go outside to the garden. He tells her that it's a good place to smoke, that the flowers are pretty too. He lays her down gently. She looks around. It's beautiful. He makes her to lie down, telling her that they have things to do. He tells her they have to start their treatment. He lifts up her leg and sees some bruises, asking if she's okay. He tells her that if she had told him about it earlier, he would have cut the Margrave's leg. He tells her that he's on the road to become one of the most patient Korkan in the history of the tribe, all because of her. She looks at him as he starts removing her pajamas. She wonders if they are really going to that here, wonder what they're going to do if someone comes. As if reading her thoughts, he tells her that he's sure there are a ton of people doing similar things around there, so she shouldn't be worried as no one would be able to identify them. He notices her tension. He touches her face, asking her what the matter is. He tells her that even wild beasts do it out in the open all the time. He asks if it's because of her pride as a member of the royal Estia family. He tells her to remember that she's doing it with a beast and he doesn't care about such things. She asks if he's reading her mind. He says he's just acting according to what she have said before. The drug seems to be quite strong. He begins to undress her. She feels she wants to do it, just like the last time, and they get intimate. She wakes up a few hours later. She's on the bed. She feels she must have passed out. She looks around. He brought her back. He's sitting beside her smoking. She asks for water. He sits her down and gives her some. She tells him that she feels dizzy. He offers her the tobacco, that she just hold it in her mouth for a while and let it go. He tells her one slip. So refreshing, she likes it. He tells her to stop, that having too much of it would be poisonous. He keeps her gently on the bed, saying that she feels better now, telling her to have a good night rest. All tragedies begin with passionate feeling. King fell in love with a country girl at first sight at a banquet. Her honest speech and cheerful laughter were something he had never seen in the nobles of the capital. Thus, a young lady of a small local noble family became the queen of Estia. But without nobody supporting her, she withered away day by day, clinging only to the king's love. Culmination of her misfortune was the moment she gave birth to Leah. She finally gave birth to Leah after a difficult labor, but she was unable to have a son and became infertile. The king's love have also long cooled, and so she was driven out of the palace in a miserable state. This happened when Leah was only 3 years old. Small Leah runs to her mum crying. Her mum tells her to make sure to survive, never to go against Sardina, and she must also obey commands. No sooner had she said those words than she was found dead, her body cold and lifeless. The royal family announced that she had taken her own life, but no one believed it was suicide, except for one person. Sardina's entry into the royal palace was a riot, because she entered the palace with a young boy. She had been involved with the king since before the deposed queen. Leah's real mother was expelled. However, the voices criticizing her soon disappeared. This is because Sardina was backed a powerful family, and in the future by the king's favor and Blaine, who had been crowned crown prince. Even the ignorant praised Sardina as kind and virtuous, saying that to raise a princess who is not even her child with such sincerity. They didn't even know that she was abusing Leah with her cunning intentions hidden. Education, work, and appearance, she was perfect in every way. She was like one of the many works of art in Estia. Sardina looks at Leah and tells her that she's the flower of Estia. Leah wakes up on the bed and looks around the room. Her head hurts, her legs are bandaged, and she tries to sit. Yesterday she drank a lot of alcohol and her body started to get hot. It would have been better if she didn't remember, but every detail feels so vivid, so vulgar and promiscuous. She looks outside. They must have been an uproar in the palace. How's she supposed to handle it? She feels she has to go back. She tries to get down from the bed. Someone enters the room with food and greets her. She introduces herself as Jenin, a royal escort of Lord Isha Khan. Leah remembers her. She saw her briefly at the banquet. Jenin looks at Leah intently as she removes the bed covers from her body. Leah feels uncomfortable. Jenin apologizes, saying that she was surprised that Leah looks so thin and small. She begs Leah to forgive her rudeness, but Leah tells her not to worry about it. She notices that Jenin's attitude is soft, contrary to her appearance. Jenin places before her some food, telling her that she brought her something simple to eat. Leah looks at the food. She's surprised that Jenin considered them as simple. Jenin placed several beverages before her, saying that she didn't know which one Leah would like. She also offered some dessert for her. Leah picks a piece in water and tells Jenin that she's fine after eating that. Jenin is surprised, asking if she doesn't like the food, saying that it was specially prepared for the princess of Estia. Leah replies that she doesn't eat a lot. Jenin still asks her if she's sure she doesn't want more, and Leah says she's okay. Leah notices that Jenin has a tattoo. She asks her, and Jenin tells her that she has only one. She tells Jenin that she thinks all Korkins have tattoos but the king doesn't have one. Jenin tells her that it's proof that not a single fight was lost. Leah tells her to extend her gratitude to King because he helped her yesterday. Jenin agrees to do that. Leah also tells Jenin to get her some clothes that she'll love go to the palace. Jenin tells her that Lord Isha Khan will be away for a while so she'll escort her to the palace. Princess Leah goes to the palace. Walking in the hallway with Jenin, she notices something is strange. She wonders why the palace is so quiet that there's no one to greet them. She wonders if someone got there first. As they walk on, Jenin hears footsteps from the hall. They move ahead and see some maids prostrating. She sees her brother Blaine sitting. He tells her that she's back early, that he has been waiting for her. Leah stands still, thinking Sardina was calling her, but she should have expected it to be Blaine. He walks up to her and comments that her dress seems to suit her well. She tells him that she had some help from others. He holds her face and asks what type of help she received. When she tells him not to touch her, he becomes angry and tries to slap her. Jenin catches his hand before it reaches her face, warning him to be more careful. Furious, Blaine pushes a servant towards Leah. She shouts at him to stop. He tells her that he can't believe his only sister is about to tarnish their family name, adding that as her younger brother, he can't stand idle regarding this matter. He asks if she's aware of the rumors circulating about her. Leah, enraged, asks him if he even knows what happened to her yesterday. She warns him not to hurt any of the palace servants, declaring they're innocent of any wrongdoing. As she speaks, blood begins running down her nose, and before the prince and Jenin can react, she collapses unconscious. The lawless beings known as gypsies in the empire were notorious for doing whatever they pleased, having nothing to lose. However, there was one thing they tried to avoid: the Korkin tribe. While the gypsies were known to travel all over the land, they never ventured near the western sand dunes where the Korkins lived. The reason remains unknown, but it's believed they simply feared the tribe for reasons untold. Lord Isha Khan stands outside with his servant, his hands blood-stained. His servant remarks that he went too far, but Isha Khan replies that it's just a small amount and he's more comfortable using his own hands, adding that it bothers him when jobs aren't done properly. His servant warns that meeting the Estia royal family in this state would make it impossible to gain their favor through bribery. Smoking, Isha Khan responds that he doubts they'll be able to have a proper conversation anyway. He expresses frustration about wasting time with assassinations, lamenting that he's lost track of the gypsies because of it. He notes that the gypsies are skilled at hiding. Once you miss one, it becomes difficult to find the rest. Though he considers sending people after them, he remembers they're short-staffed. The servant acknowledges it would be more challenging but promises to do what he can. They turn to see Jenin approaching. She informs Isha Khan that Leah has lost consciousness. Angry, Isha Khan reprimands Jenin, reminding her that he'd instructed her to take good care of the princess, yet she left her post. Jenin prostrates herself, apologizing. Isha Khan states he can understand one error but won't be as forgiving of a second, telling her to rise and be more careful henceforth. He remarks that it's strange for someone to vomit blood like that. The other servant asks if it's because he was too rough with Leah the previous night. Isha Khan partially agrees but suggests it might be due to the small amount of their medicine he gave her the day before. The servant exclaims that it can be poisonous for ordinary people, while Jenin adds that it can also serve as medicine if used moderately. Isha Khan still finds Leah's violent reaction unusual, suspecting there might be more to the Estia princess than meets the eye. Meanwhile, Leah lies sleeping on the bed while Melissa, her maid, kneels beside her, frightened. Seeing Leah shake, Melissa calls out to her, asking if she's okay and if she's in pain. The princess opens her eyes tiredly and asks what happened. Melissa explains that she has been sleeping all day, to which Leah responds that it's because she stayed up all night at the banquet. Melissa feels relieved. Looking at Leah, Melissa reflects on how the princess has been under tremendous pressure lately. Even the prince was alarmed when she suddenly collapsed. Fortunately, the Korkin woman helped at the right moment, being the first to tend to Leah instead of the royal servants. She had lit a strange scented candle for Leah which, oddly enough, seemed to work immediately. Melissa tells her they feared something severe had happened. When Leah inquires about Margrave a bird, Melissa explains that they took care of him as soon as they found him lying near the fountains with his pants off. She adds that at the end of the banquet, all the residing nobles saw him, causing a minor scandal. The Margrave, being a respected and powerful man in their kingdom, seems unlikely to make such a careless mistake. Melissa suggests that rather than excessive drinking, he might have been drugged. Leah wonders if it could be the same substance he gave to her. The Margrave values his status and prestige above all else. She doubts he would have done this of his own accord. She wonders if it could have been him. Melissa interrupts her thoughts, mentioning that she personally changed Leah's torn clothes and asking if she had a forbidden affair. Leah responds that it was something she did willingly. When Melissa speculates if it was with the king of the Korkins, Leah assures her not to worry about her prenuptial purity, adding that she doesn't intend to have a relationship with him, it was merely a one-time encounter. In the queen's chamber on the other side of the palace, Prince Blaine enters angrily to meet his mother. She welcomes him, mentioning her plans to make a scarf from the fox he caught for her. He protests that he didn't catch it for her, but she dismisses his harshness, saying that since the servants who went hunting with him caught it for her, it's the same as if he had caught it himself. He asks if she's responsible for Leah coughing up blood. She questions why he thinks that, asking if he fears losing her to the savages. He suggests the princess is probably just stressed about maintaining her prenuptial purity before marriage. His mother tells him not to be so pathetic regarding Leah, and he begs her to leave Leah alone for a while. She replies that the situation was unexpected for her too, so they should give Leah some freedom for a few days. She warns him not to direct his anger at her again, or she might have to start talking with the savages too. She then suggests they go to dinner, adding that next time he should catch a deer instead of a fox, as she's tired of fox fur. He agrees. A few days later, Leah sits in her chambers. Thanks to the incident, she was able to rest for 5 days, though she couldn't leave due to Blaine posting his personal guards to watch over her. While usually only visited by Sardina, at least she didn't have to attend the remaining banquets, a relief. Her maid passes her a letter, which she opens to read. The subject for the next royal cabinet meeting will be the proposition of the new tax reform plan. There will be backlash from the people to the nobles if this is approved. We must be careful. If it happens, no matter how many resources the frontline army has, their numerical strength will be dampened. There's a knock on the door, it's Melissa. Leah grants her permission to enter. Melissa informs her that Margrave Aberd has sent another gift, which she'll return as usual. Leah approves, telling her to continue rejecting everything. He has been sending gifts daily since the incident. She wonders if he expects her to pretend nothing happened, using these gifts as persuasion. Melissa also mentions an upcoming lunch in the garden between the royal family and the king of the Korkins, adding that the king insisted on Leah's attendance. Leah thinks to herself that such peace cannot last forever. She instructs Melissa to inform the king she'll attend. As the banquet should end soon, she wants to gather more information. A servant enters and whispers to Melissa, followed by a small boy carrying a chest. He announces that the king of the Korkins has sent Leah a gift. She accepts it and reads the attached note. Are you feeling better? It's been hard not being able to see your face. She opens the chest to find a dress made of purple silk. 2 servants are surprised, with one noting that many nobles were unhappy when they saw a Korkin wearing purple silk. She urges Leah to return the dress. Melissa informs Leah that according to the servant who delivered the gift, if it's returned, the king will not attend tomorrow's banquet. The next day, Leah dresses for lunch. In the end, she didn't return the dress. Now he knows all her weaknesses, she thinks, recalling when he said the flowers were similar to her, a thought that just irritates her. But this isn't the time to dwell on such matters. After lunch, she has to meet with Finance Minister Laurent and Count Valtain Palatine in the evening. From now on, she'll be busy. Stepping outside the palace, she can't find the carriage. She turns to see Lord Isha Khan, who greets her with long time no see. She asks why he's here, noting that lunch isn't being held at this location. He tells her he heard that according to royal etiquette here, men must pick up their precious noblewomen. She wonders if he's talking about being an escort and tells him this isn't the right situation. When she mentions wanting to return the dress, he refuses, asking if she's afraid of being mocked at lunch while wearing it. She questions whether he's trying to capture her heart like Count Aberd did. He responds that it's too cheap to captivate a princess's heart with silk fabric, explaining that he gave it to her because he tore her clothes that night. He asks if she won't wear it, saying he chose it thinking it would look good on her. She tells him he knows she can't wear it and asks why he enjoys getting her into trouble. He replies that she's too cold to someone who serves her with his whole body, reminding her that he tried hard to help when she nearly died, saying she must return the favor. The maids watch speechlessly as Leah asks what he wants. He requests to walk with her to lunch. She looks at him hard before agreeing, walking ahead and telling him to follow. They begin walking, but she's moving too quickly, making him complain while she feels equally uncomfortable. He tells her he came out because of her, that it was very difficult to meet her even though she's not a trapped princess in a tower. He asks if he's right, but she refuses to respond. They continue in silence, with Leah enjoying the walk after being confined for so long. Looking at Isha Khan, she wonders if he planned this deliberately. He tells her she looks even more beautiful today. Finally reaching the queen's palace, she announces their arrival. At the door, a servant informs them that the queen awaits inside, and they proceed. Leah always feels uncomfortable in the queen's palace. For some reason, people always appear lethargic. It would have been more difficult if she hadn't come with Isha Khan. They enter, and the maid announces their presence. Leah is stunned to see the queen wearing her clothes. Queen turns and welcomes her. Leah wonders why the queen is wearing her dress, the one Isha Khan gave her. Isha Khan is surprised as well, doubting that Leah gave the clothing to her. He compliments the queen on her beautiful garment, saying he didn't expect her to wear a Korkan dress today. She replies that since they're having a friendly reunion with the king of the Korkans, it's her duty as empress to do whatever she can to make him feel at ease. She's just doing her part. Leah observes her, suspecting a traitor in the royal court. Until recently, strangers weren't allowed to enter the palace, and she had kept that dress a secret. Only one of the maids would have known about it. However, trying to find the culprit now could cause a division in the royal court that would only turn the maids against her. Though unhappy, she considers telling the queen to remove the dress immediately. She catches herself, wondering why she's being so sensitive about this today. Queen continues talking as Leah listens absent-mindedly about how Estia and the Korkan tribe have been in a pointless conflict for a long time, and if these reunions would help them obtain peace. Looking at Isha Khan, Leah thinks she's slowly becoming similar to him. Under the table, Isha Khan rubs his leg against Leah's. He can't stay still, not even respecting the event's etiquette. She wants him to stop. Queen continues, saying if she had known peaceful reunions like this were possible, she could have requested them earlier. As Isha Khan continues fondling Leah's legs under the table, Prince Blaine, sitting beside her, asks if she's sick. Lost in thought, she doesn't hear him until he asks again, telling her not to make him repeat himself. She assures him she's fine. Suspicious, the prince looks under the table, but Isha Khan has already withdrawn his leg. Sitting back up, he looks at Isha Khan and asks if he's enjoying the food, expressing concern that these unfamiliar dishes might not suit his taste, mentioning he's heard it's difficult to get such ingredients while living in the desert. Isha Khan agrees, saying the ingredients here taste much better. That's why he's staying in Estia so long. Prince mentions hearing he's unmarried, despite being king of their tribe, and asks if he's planning to take a bride from Estia in a predatory marriage. Leah nudges his hand to stop him from speaking thus, but he ignores her, telling Isha Khan to refrain from such actions if he genuinely wishes for his people to stop being called savage barbarians. Surprised, Isha Khan responds that it seems the Estia kingdom has no genuine intention of befriending his tribe as he'd thought. He says he believed they were aligned, but that no longer seems true. He questions whether lunch is an appropriate time for such interrogation, and the prince replies no. Leah quickly intervenes, apologizing to Isha Khan and asking him not to misunderstand. The prince wants peace with his tribe more than anyone, having helped countless Korkan slaves. When Isha Khan asks if she's doing this to protect her brother, she confirms. He remarks this is the second time and she thanks him. She wonders what he'll want in exchange later, given this is the second time he's had to endure something because of her. As they continue eating, Isha Khan asks if she's enjoying the meal. She hasn't eaten much, distracted by thoughts of negotiations. Isha Khan watches her, asking if the food is too much for a princess. Queen interjects that Leah doesn't eat much, and Isha Khan questions whether she dislikes the food. Queen explains that she had considered serving Korkan food but ultimately decided to showcase Estian cuisine instead. That's why she chose to wear a Korkan dress. As she speaks, Isha Khan approaches her and pours a drink over her head, ruining her dress. Everyone is shocked. Isha Khan apologizes for his mistake. promising to send her a new dress in a color that suits her. Everyone is shocked and speechless at his act. Queen finally finds her voice, telling him there's no need to give her a new dress and not to worry about it. She stands to leave, saying she'll return after changing. King looks on speechlessly. Leah is surprised. Even after such an act, the queen dismissed it as nothing. This demonstrates how important negotiations with the king of the Korkans are. No one in the royal family can do anything but cooperate. That's right, she must do her part, even though what she just witnessed is something she's long wanted to do herself. She stands, and Isha Khan beside her suggests they leave, offering to escort her. Prince, surprised, tells her to sit down and not leave. Isha Khan takes her hand and pulls her gently. Though the prince shouts for her to come back, she remains speechless as Isha Khan leads her away. In the hallway, she tells Isha Khan to wait, pulling away. He asks what's wrong with her, but she doesn't reply. He apologizes for grabbing her hands forcefully. She attempts to apologize on behalf of the royal family for any disrespect, but he cuts her short, telling her to stop. He asks why she's always apologizing as if she's a sinner, questioning if the royal family is so important to her that she's ready to cover for that which. When she remains speechless, he gently asks why she isn't speaking, telling her she can be angry at the queen too, whether she feels it's unfair or not. Still silent, he urges her to speak her mind. In Leah's mind, she too wanted to wear that dress he gave her, wanted to eat as much as she desired, and wanted to speak her mind properly. However, what would have been the point? It would have been useless, nothing would change. Even him taking her away like this won't change their inevitable future separation. She knows this well, and because she knows that, she tells him not to pity someone he can't take care of. Surprised, he wonders what she means, asking if it's just physical. As she turns to walk away, he tries to hold her back. She screams at him to let go and not follow her. He asks what she'll do if he says he can take care of her. Later that evening, in her chambers with Melissa, Leah discusses the dress the Empress wore. She suggests there must be a reason why one of the maids informed the Empress about the dress, knowing Leah wanted to wear it. Melissa asks why she's saying this, explaining that as head of the maids, she's responsible for maintaining discipline and balance among them. She begs Leah not to be angry, saying that if Leah becomes upset about a maid betraying her orders and profiting from selling information to the Empress, Melissa would be the one dismissed. She adds that if only she were from a wealthier family, she would have more courage in such situations. Leah tells her not to talk like that, saying she's been like a mother to her, and hugs her. Melissa expresses certainty that the Empress wants her to serve as the princess's maid for the border journey, but she desperately doesn't want that. She promises to do her best to ensure she accompanies Leah to the border, then leaves to prepare a nice dress for tomorrow. Leah reflects on Melissa's words. If Melissa tries so hard to stay by her side, it would be futile since Leah wants to die anyway, leaving nothing of Melissa's efforts. Looking out from the balcony, Leah recalls Isha Khan's earlier words about taking care of her. But before that, for a moment, she would really like to say it, that she genuinely wants to live. During the welcoming banquet for the Korkans, rumors spread throughout Estia, especially about the relationship between the royal princess and the king of the Korkans. Just seeing the young couple side by side stimulated everyone's imagination. The irony was that the number of nobles pitying the princess and her arranged marriage to the Margrave began to increase. Count Valtaine and Finance Minister Laurent sit at a table discussing matters with Leah. Count remarks that when the king of the Korkans suddenly appeared, everyone was thrilled watching the Margrave's face boil with anger. However, Leah looked most beautiful that day, no wonder there was so much tension. He continues, opening a small box to show her some seeds, explaining they're the latest trend among nobles. Leah identifies them as date fruits. Count confirms, mentioning rumors about the seeds providing tremendous energy. Leah, surprised, starts to say something but stops herself. Though the Count urges her to continue, she declines and asks what he came to report. Count explains that the Korkans are operating 3 main branches in Estia. The first branch focuses on meeting and befriending important people throughout the kingdom. They even approached him. The second branch hunts down gypsies, which might seem unimportant given the known poor relationship between Korkans and gypsies, but he suspects there's more to it. The third branch, as Leah expected, works to find Kirkian slaves in Estia. Although slavery is illegal in Estia, many Korkans still endure such treatment. Leah asks if he handled her request. He confirms, saying it should proceed as she hoped. having put one of his connections hard at work. This will give them at least one trump card during negotiations. He warns they shouldn't lower their guard on such a complex issue, especially after recent events, saying that just because there's no war now doesn't mean. Leah interrupts, saying she'll try her best to make it work, that she can't abandon the negotiations, they're Estia's last chance for peace. Because of this, she questions the Empress's plan to marry her to the Margrave. Even if they marry, how would they lead a severely weakened country? She hasn't slept lately, wondering if the Emperor truly believes the prince can handle all this, concluding the situation is difficult for the prince too. Count Valtaine responds that he doesn't understand how the Emperor, known for having the cunning of a snake, could be so blind to his son's capabilities. He adds that if the Empress proceeds with her plan to send Leah to the border, she'll surely regret it and try to recall her, but by then it could be too late, with no guarantees even if the Empress begs. Leah interrupts, expressing her desire to see these Korkan slaves herself. At night, a carriage moves along as two figures silently pursue it. They overtake it, it's the Korkans. Carriage is captured and those resisting are killed. Only the driver remains. Carriage was supposed to contain Korkan slaves. Isha Khan, present at the scene, nearly kills the driver before one of his servants stops him, saying there are no more slaves. Isha Khan, frustrated, realizes their information wasn't accurate enough. He questions the driver about who has the slaves. The driver reveals another slaver bought and left with the Korkan slaves. One of the Korkans begs Isha Khan to spare the driver's life, noting he was just a driver and his injuries are punishment enough. Isha Khan struggles to control his anger. This marks the third time. They've finished locating Korkan slaves owned by nobles and wealthy merchants. However, the slaves they try to rescue always vanish just before they act. The newly captured slaves disappear when rescue attempts are made. He tells Haven, his servant, that someone is moving one step ahead of them, adding it's not Haven's fault since he's been focused on chasing gypsies. It's no one's mistake. The other side simply operates more efficiently. Haven suggests they should try catching those responsible first, saying there must be someone in charge of the operations. Isha Khan notes it's unfortunately a full moon, so they should finish their current task and move to the next, but agrees they should proceed. When Haven questions this, mentioning they don't operate during full moons, Isha Khan responds they have no choice, they must move quickly within the next hour. He asks Haven if he can control himself. The next day, at the first royal court meeting after the welcoming banquet for the Korkans, both the Emperor and Empress are absent. This no longer surprises Leah. Finance Minister Laurent clears his throat and finally speaks, announcing their decision to move forward with the tax system reform plan. Others stand to protest, demanding to know how he could make such a sudden decision. The minister stands firm, stating that whether they like it or not, the new plan will be passed to all once they calm their frantic behavior. He promises to explain the reform in detail afterward, while someone mutters that it's unbelievable. Leah sits silently, sensing everyone's heads turning, but she remains calm. She believes they'll have enough time to adapt. Once the new reform is officially implemented, opposition should be immediately subdued. Standing to speak, she adds one more point. They will strengthen surveillance around slaves, implementing a major security measure to ensure efficiency. She explains this would help maintain smooth negotiations with the Korkans. Someone reminds the court that slave trade and sales must remain secret in their territory, suggesting that for Estia's future development, they should avoid conducting sales in person. Leah observes their unexpectedly positive response, suspecting they've accepted bribes but knowing she must keep watching them. After the meeting, an exhausted Leah walks along the corridor. She sees Margrave a bird approaching from the opposite direction. She greets him, and he compliments her performance today, leaving her confused. He advises her to secure her bedroom door tonight, latch the windows, block them with additional items, keep the palace grounds well lit, and order guards and servants to maintain vigilance throughout the night. When she questions his implications, he warns that the savages brought to the palace have become obsessed with the capital's luxuries and will do anything to obtain them, insisting she doesn't understand their true nature. He offers to send his own guards to protect the palace, urging her to stay alert and heed his advice this once. Leah remains silent. Back in her room, Leah dons black clothing, preparing to investigate the slaves, accompanied by Melissa. They discuss whether these accusations will really cause a scandal. Melissa can't believe they're deploying so many guards around the palace, saying that despite ignoring royal family wishes, this seems excessive. Leah suggests letting Margrave proceed for now, acknowledging his lifelong experience with Korkins at the border probably isn't baseless. She reflects that the Korkin slaves she's met haven't shown unusual behavior, finding it interesting to note the difference with non-slaves. Meeting the king was her first encounter with such a Korkin. Melissa interrupts her thoughts, questioning if she really must go out dressed this way, completely covered. Leah acknowledges she can't solve it alone, bids Melissa farewell and departs. Outside, Count Valtaine waits by a carriage, expressing relief at her company, having been anxious about going alone, especially given the Empress's careful auction preparations. She tells him not to be nervous. He hands her a face mask, which she accepts, hoping they can finish today. Count agrees, joking that his weak heart will cause an early death if he continues such activities. They enter the carriage and depart, with Leah hoping for success. At the building's entrance, they're admitted and seated. Count notes the entrance check seems more thorough today. As they wait, someone approaches, requesting a moment to discuss today's product, and leaves with the Count. Leah sits uneasily, wondering about the Count's removal and sensing something amiss. Suddenly, someone grabs her from behind, holding a knife to her neck and ordering her not to move. She recognizes the voice. He removes both their masks, it's Isha Khan. Surprised to see her, he asks if she's been kidnapped. When she reveals she owns the place, he demands a better explanation, noting it's a Korkin slave trading floor. He sits, pulling her onto his lap, apologizing for his earlier behavior and warning that today he can't control himself. Lord Isha Khan takes her hand to his face, trying to calm her. He assures her he's not that type of person and apologizes for startling her, adding that he has many questions. Primarily, he notes the Estia royal family shouldn't be involved in slave trading. Strategically, they should have severed ties with such business during negotiations, using bribes to maintain appearances and mercenaries for slave-related duties. When he asks about her trading partners, she explains she has limited information about her customers, who all conceal their identities, it being a secret facility for trading and smuggling slaves out of the country. He realizes this explains why even the slaves couldn't provide proper names, making it appear as if powerful nobles were behind it. She confirms this, adding that while it's been long since she personally hosted a major slave auction, this operation involves cooperation with others. When asked about trading Korkin slaves, she explains she deals only with the sick and elderly, lacking funds for young, healthy ones, assuring him of their safety. He questions if this was her family's intended bargaining chip, revealing they've been trailing a clever slave trader who turned out to be her. He muses about how the Estia family maintained stability all these years. Leah remains silent, realizing the Korkins hadn't expected a royal family member's involvement. She expresses surprise at his presence, questioning how he entered. He redirects the conversation to his previous offer, noting she fled without answering. Embracing her tightly, he suggests she should live more relaxed instead of focusing on negotiations, proposing they run away together. As he kisses her neck, she questions his actions. He suggests asking her body instead, placing his finger in her mouth as she moans. When he mentions the full moon, she finds his persistence strange. Others enter, Haven, Jenin and Count Valtaine, shocked at the scene. Haven quickly separates Isha Khan, chiding him for losing control. When Leah mentions Isha Khan's full moon comment to Jenin, Jenin explains that for Korkins, full moons signify their heat cycle. She elaborates that unmated Korkins experience instinctual heat cycles during full moons, making them more impulsive, though only half are affected. Leah, who assumed Haven and Jenin were a couple, learns otherwise. Both explain they have more attractive spouses elsewhere. Jenin warns Leah to avoid Isha Khan tonight due to these changes. Haven formally introduces himself, apologizing for both the delayed greeting and Isha Khan's behavior. Isha Khan defends himself, saying they hadn't expected to find the princess while tracking a slave trader. When Count Valtaine quietly asks Leah their next move, she suggests joining forces given their shared objectives. Leah realizes Isha Khan wouldn't have come with just 3 people. Other Korkins must be present. Carefully considering her options, she suggests arranging a meeting where the slaves are held. Isha Khan expresses distrust in involving someone as threatening as the Empress, but insists on accompanying her, instructing his servants to follow silently. Leah recognizes her disadvantage, wondering if it's intentional, but agrees. Haven jokes that Leah uniquely treats the Korkan king like a subordinate. As they depart, Leah dons her mask, declaring she doesn't need disobedient subordinates. Someone announces they're awaited as they approach the door. They enter the building, with Leah wondering if other hidden Korkans will follow. A man directs Leah to enter, but she tells him to lead while she follows. He notes that she's just a woman. The table, everyone is being escorted as expected. Leah recognizes the most influential slave trader present. She must be careful not to show any weakness that might make him suspicious. She sits, with Isha Khan standing guard behind her. Welcoming everyone, she expresses her pleasure at their attendance. They're surprised to hear a woman's voice, never having known the organizer's gender. The most influential trader comments on her sweet voice, wondering if her face matches its beauty. He notes that younger slaves are currently the best sellers, given Noble Lady's recent trend of acquiring them, suggesting it makes sense that the organizer is young. Another questions if she's really a woman, suggesting she might be a decoy for the real organizers. Leah strikes a glass for silence. She expresses disappointment that her gender seems more important than business, questioning whether money shouldn't be their only concern. She suggests that if she's the only one present for business, perhaps today's meeting was a mistake. The influential man attempts to calm her, explaining their comments stemmed from surprise at discovering such a young, small woman had invited them all, insisting their reaction is understandable. Though finding it a weak excuse, Leah accepts their apologies. The man suggests they should get along as they'll be seeing each other for a long time. To show good faith, he offers entertainment, clapping to summon dancing Korkan slave girls and inviting everyone to choose their favorite. This signals things are proceeding well, with Leah having successfully calmed the room. Plan is on track. A young Korkan girl approaches Leah, commenting on her nervousness. Leah remains silent. Korkan girl offers Leah a drink, noting it would be difficult to consume while masked. Leah's continued silence prompts the girl to kneel and express concern about her lack of response. As Leah studies the girl's face, she reflects on how adult Korkan warriors' resistance to capture led traders to target young Korkans, subjecting them to abusive education to prevent future rebellion. These slaves command high prices, with Estia becoming the main hub for Korkan slave trading. Leah regrets her previous inaction, seeing parallels between herself and the enslaved Korkans. The girl expresses curiosity about Leah's masked face, reaching for her hand. Leah rejects her, suspecting she's been ordered to intoxicate and charm her. Leah promises to save her, though the girl dismisses it as a joke. When Leah asks if she can run, the girl confirms she can. Leah observes that despite abuse, this aspect of Korkan nature persists, unlike her own. Leah announces her wish to inspect the Korkan slaves before payment. The most influential member offers to personally escort her. They proceed to dark cages containing the slaves. The man brags about female Korkan slaves' high value, presenting one to demonstrate his product's quality. As he urges Leah to remove her mask, Isha Khan appears and kills him mid-sentence. Isha Khan frees the chained slave girl and instructs Jenin to release the others. Haven discovers another cage of slaves, while Jenin notes one is missing, likely hidden elsewhere. The freed slave girl offers to guide them to the isolated troublemaker. With time running short before the auction, Isha Khan orders Jenin and Haven to handle the auction guests in place of the slave traders. Leah questions Isha Khan about his intentions, realizing their original plan has changed. He expresses his desire to eliminate all slave traders and many guests. Following the small girl deeper into the complex, they encounter more slaves. Isha Khan describes their cruel treatment, his words suggesting personal experience. When Isha Khan asks if she remembers all the Korkans she's saved, Leah hesitates, torn between honesty and his apparent loneliness. During another slave's liberation, it attacks Leah. Isha Khan intervenes and sustains an injury. He warns her to keep her distance, citing the full moon and his difficulty controlling himself at the sight of blood. Jenin removes the unconscious slave. Noticing Isha Khan's unusual weariness, Leah insists on staying when he prepares to leave her with an escort. She acknowledges the implications, expressing her desire to repay his previous help despite the risks. Isha Khan smiles, caressing her face while questioning her intentions. She's overwhelmed with desire, longing for his touch and to lose herself in the moment. Despite his dismissal, she insists on tending his wound first. When she struggles to tear fabric from her clothes, Isha-kan easily assists. As she bandages him, he pulls her closer, noting her sweet scent. His kisses cause her to fumble with the bandage. After confirming his pain and finishing the bandaging, he suggests she attend to other areas, guiding her hands. Their intimacy intensifies as she takes the lead. During their passionate encounter, she pleads for him to stop, overwhelmed, but he persists, reminding her of her offer to help. She cries as he remains determined to continue. Later, she expresses pregnancy concerns, which he dismisses. His fervor continues unabated, leaving her wondering about its duration. He asks her to endure longer. Afterward, in the house, Leah lies unconscious. Jenin notes her tear-stained face, questioning Isha-kan's care. Haven discusses pregnancy possibilities, noting the absence of proper ceremony, but criticizes Isha-kan's excessive behavior. Isha-kan dismisses them, prioritizing Leah's rest. The next morning, Leah awakens to find Kurkin writing on the table, remembering Isha-kan holding it earlier. He enters with a simple breakfast, encouraging her to eat heartily after their night together. She notices the abundance of Kurkin cuisine. After eating lightly, she declines his offer of stamina-restoring fruit, wary of its effects on him. During their conversation, he reassures her about Count Valtain's safety and apologizes for frightening her. Addressing her pregnancy concerns, he explains that conception requires specific ceremonial preparations. When she inquires about the previous night's events, he reveals his wolf-like heritage within the Kurkin blood of beasts lineage, explaining that his behavior mimics animal mating rituals without full transformation. Leah's curiosity about the Kurkins grows. She learns they're more human-like than commonly believed, though known for their beast blood. With continental people often dismissing them as savages, little is understood about their history and culture. Her interest extends beyond negotiations. She wants to learn more about both his tribe and him personally. Rising, he comments on yesterday's chaos and the challenge she faces in rectifying the situation. She explains her plan to use this opportunity to end the auctions. While some slaves died, no high-ranking nobles were harmed, as they typically send representatives. She acknowledges this practice violated rules but felt powerless to protest. Isha-kan notes that while this might damage the Kurkins' public image, the nobles should recognize their role in these consequences. He adds that negotiations with the Kurkins must continue. Moving closer, he mentions a recent discovery that kept him awake with excitement. When she inquires, he reveals that the Empress was a gypsy. The slave's disappearance from the auction becomes a major topic of discussion across the continent, not just in Estia. The largest supply being cut off causes Kurkin slave prices to rise dramatically. Eventually, Leah must halt her organized slave auctions and redirect the funds elsewhere. With most influential slave traders who enriched nobles now dead, their activities should diminish temporarily. Though people like Margrave Aberd are likely to protest, business cannot continue as usual. Unlike his predecessor who ignored slavery, Isha-kan demonstrates greater responsibility toward his people. Leah wonders if he would have even considered negotiations had they owned Kurkin slaves previously. Outside, maids argue over who gave the princess's dress to the Empress. Meanwhile, Leah soaks in her bathtub, contemplating Isha-kan's revelation about the Empress being a gypsy. When she had asked for details, he promised more information at their next meeting. Walking down the hallway with Melissa, Leah considers the implications. This knowledge could destabilize the entire Estian royal family and challenge Blaine's right to the throne. She needs more information from Isha-kan to fully understand the situation. Melissa, following quietly, expresses concern about Leah meeting Isha-kan again, worried about his intentions. When Leah invites Melissa to accompany her, she's delighted, pledging vigilance and urging Leah to share her burdens rather than suffering alone. Touched by Melissa's sincerity, Leah recalls her childhood self as a sleepless little girl, with Melissa offering help. Young Leah, writing at a table, had insisted on managing alone, feeling compelled to be perfect. In the present, Melissa offers to obtain a magic potion that noble women use before losing their virginity to calm their minds. Leah remains silent, deciding against worrying Melissa and noting internally that the potion is unnecessary. She expects to die after everything concludes, making escape pointless. They arrive at Margrave Aberd's house, surprising him with their visit. Leah announces her desire to speak with him. The next day, negotiations begin with 3 representatives from each side, Estia and the Korkan Committee. Neither brought guards, unusual for the Estian nobles though expected of the Korkans. Before beginning, Isha Khan requests a private conversation with Leah. Despite resistance, the emperor silences objections. Isha Khan expresses admiration for Leah and his honor in speaking directly with her. After polite exchanges, Leah presents Estia's proposals. First, returning all 30 Korkan slaves rescued by the royal family. Second, lending western territories to the Korkans indefinitely, including crop profits. Understanding the Korkans' warlike nature, Leah knows these conditions alone might not prevent conflict. She reveals her trump card, her engagement to Margrave Aberd and his potential claim to the throne. She implies that without Isha Khan's signature on the peace agreement, she'll ensure Margrave Aberd becomes Estia's next king, a bluff meant only to keep the Margrave quiet during negotiations. Isha Khan's easy agreement arouses Leah's suspicion. He counters with his own demand, taking Estia's princess as his bride to strengthen internation bonds. The Estian side immediately objects. Isha Khan suggests pausing negotiations to reconsider this proposal, and Leah agrees. Later, while pacing in her room and considering how to question Isha Khan about Sardina, Leah bumps into him, waiting for her. They walk together to the Room of Glory, a place that frustrates Leah despite its grand name. There, Isha Khan initiates an intimate conversation, discussing her breakfast and suggesting she sit on his lap due to limited seating. As they sit closely, he kisses her and compliments her appearance. Though uncomfortable, Leah remembers a promise made to him. Offering her a cookie, Isha Khan reminds Leah of her promise to accept anything he gives. She reluctantly eats it, finding it delicious but conflicted about her growing hunger for both the food and Isha Khan. After finishing, Leah finally asks how he discovered the Empress's gypsy identity. Isha Khan responds by drawing her closer and kissing her again, telling her it's acceptable to indulge more. Isha Khan continues kissing Leah passionately until she interrupts, insisting they discuss the Empress. He explains that he discovered the truth using Korkan tribe magic. When Leah inquires about its nature and similarity to gypsy practices, he confirms that both groups share this trait, despite being bitter rivals. He mentions the Korkans' ongoing pursuit of gypsies, suggesting deeper reasons beyond their ancient blood ties. He recalls recognizing Leah at lunch but remains silent due to other preoccupations. Isha Khan suggests that, like the Empress's hidden agenda regarding Margrave Aberd's marriage, he too has concealed plans. When Leah remains silent, he expresses his confusion about her actions. Contemplating how he would have acted in her position, Isha Khan declares he would have seized any chance to break free and seek revenge without hesitation. He emphasizes his strength and determination, contrasting them with Leah's apparent resignation. Her choices perplex him, particularly her unwillingness to fight back or escape. Leah confesses her exhaustion and desire to give up, but explains she can't end her life irresponsibly. She feels obligated to protect her loved ones in Estia, wanting to ensure the peace agreement's success as her final act of service. Admitting her words place him in a difficult position, Isha Khan acknowledges his desire to honor the agreement. Then he makes an unexpected proposition, suggesting Leah become the Korkan queen instead of marrying the manipulated Margrave. This suggestion startles her, leaving her questioning his true intentions. She considers the possibility of deception, remembering his past lies. Yet part of her desperately wants to believe him, despite logical reasons for doubt. Isha Khan acknowledges the plan's challenges and questions Leah about her desires after signing the peace agreement. Finding herself speechless, Leah struggles to respond as Isha Khan presses further, asking if she still wishes to die or truly believes that's her destined path. His unwavering determination has disrupted all her carefully laid plans, leaving her conflicted. Despite knowing she shouldn't, Leah feels compelled to express her true feelings. She realizes she doesn't want her life to end this way. Against her better judgment, she admits her desire to live. Our male lead is standing over a hill and watching the departing carriage full of slaves. He looks a bit uncomfortable. Havan approaches him and asks if he is feeling uneasy. Isha Khan lights his cigarette and replies that he was also once in a similar abandoned state. Having just been rescued from the slave market, it will take some time to adjust. At least, it is fortunate that the coming-of-age ceremony can now be held. Without it, he might never have truly matured. Havan insists that he was a bit harsh on Luzin earlier. He scolds him while Isha Khan looks away, guilty. Staring at his king's worried face, Heaven knows he has a lot more on his mind than the slaves. He asks him if he is worried about the princess. Isha Khan explains that Duke Bird is already acting like the next successor for the king. The old man must think that by marrying the princess, leveraging his military strength and wealth, he can claim the Estian throne. Isha Khan isn't worried about him, however. His greatest concern is the Empress. Heaven inquires as to what Isha Khan would do about the Empress if she is really in contact with gypsies and sorcery. Isha Khan is a little stressed by this because he knows their long-standing brainwashing is incredibly powerful. He believes they must not have targeted only the king. Calling Leah's teary face begging to die, he makes up his mind and commands Heaven to summon Morga. Heaven is resistant to the idea. Having Morga around the palace will mean them losing track of the gypsies they are currently pursuing. Isha Khan tells him the matter cannot be helped and from now on is even more important. Smiling gently, he says he suddenly finds himself quite willing to grant their request. In the hunting grounds outside town, Blaine is busy hunting for the deer which he previously promised to bring back to his mother. He addresses the man beside him as grandfather. Prince mocks the Kurkans, saying they might not appreciate hunting light beasts. His grandfather replies they should, considering their lowly origins. He repeats a rumor he heard about those barbarians hunting animals with their bare hands and without any proper tools. The deer he is targeting is hit, and Blaine's companions all start to praise him. He asks them to send the deer to the Empress Palace. He decides that hunting with the Kurkans might not be a bad idea, and will ask his mother himself. Blaine goes to see the Empress, but as he approaches we hear some weird noises. Seems some passionate, intimate session is going on inside the room. Blaine knocks and the queen soon comes to open the door. She is dressed now and lies that it must be due to the effects of sorcery, making her wake up a bit late. They enter the house and she asks if he had been waiting for long. He could have just come in. Blaine doesn't dare to, as he knows what exactly she was doing. Sardina laughs as she admits that seeing them is better than wasting her son's precious time. Blaine can see the king on the bed looking unconscious. His mother wonders if she should make Leah like that too, but he refuses. She expresses that she has heard about the hunting festival, but is sure those savages will try to find her during an event like that. Blaine suddenly asks a strange question. He wants to know what she would do if he places her on the pyre. Would she still praise him? Sardina simply says of course. If he does that, it must be for a reason. He is her son. If her corpse is what he needs, then she will gladly offer it. Hugging him tight, she reminds him he wears the crown, calling him her beloved son. It is the day of the hunting festival. Leah is dressed up prettily, but wonders if she arrived too early as everywhere is deserted. Someone calls her name from behind and she turns around. It is Blaine. He demands to know if she prepared what he asked for yesterday. She affirms she did and hands him a handkerchief. From her thoughts, however, we discover it is just a random handkerchief she grabbed from somewhere in the palace. She hopes he will be satisfied with this. He is and ties it around his wrist. He mentions getting her a pair of deer antlers or a fox's tail instead. He ridiculously even mentions a wolf. Leah hurriedly declines. She suggests he just catch a fox. Blaine climbs his horse, urging her to wait here. He understands and will bring the largest fox for her. Watching him leave, Leah really hopes that nothing will go wrong. Inside her tent, she is holding another handkerchief, this one delicately designed. She reveals that she wanted to give it to Isha Khan, but she never got the chance. She is sad as she wonders if she will ever see him again. Suddenly, someone hugs her around her waist from behind. A charming voice greets her hello. Hearing the man call her name, she instantly blushes. It is Isha Khan. Having the man you have been dreaming of seeing suddenly appear and hug you, Leah can't control her happy emotions and the two start to kiss. They don't even care where they are. That is until Isha Khan places her on a table before she stops him. He asks if he startled her. Staring at him shyly, she thinks to herself that she was surely startled. More than that, however, she liked it, but she would never admit something that weird. He knows she has something for him and demands for it. Leah is extremely shy as she tells him she does. She can't understand how he knows people's hearts so well. He suddenly holds her hands above her head, and suggests looking for the thing personally on her body. Leah shouts for him to wait, but which man would do so in this situation? He pulls down the bust area of her gown, exposing her full chest. He smirks and says he thinks it is surely hidden there. She struggles to free herself. If he wants to do weird things, he should let her go. He pulls down the cloth more, and indeed the handkerchief is there. Leah is a bit stunned he guessed correctly, while Isha Khan laughs at her embarrassed face. He admires the handkerchief, then kisses her leg, complaining about the short time they have. Leah doesn't know what Blaine was thinking by calling him here. Isha Khan explains that he was the one who arranged for them to compete in things they were confident in so they could settle matters. He believes that unlike the queen who has personal grudges against him, Blaine is more focused on merits. Leah asks if it is only for that reason. He teases her that a man in love is always willing to do the most stupid things. He produces a cookie and places it against her lips, asking her to look at him as he is already doing the most stupid things. He promises to settle things with the royal family soon and urges her to wait for him. He hands her the cookie as he leaves. His confession shocks Leah to the extent that she wonders if what is happening right now is true. She stops Isha Khan from leaving and demands clarity. What exactly did he mean by what he told her? Isha Khan looks at her face and can't resist. He bends down and hugs her tightly, making her squeak. He says she is too cute. He wishes they could stay like this for a little longer, but he really has to go. With that, he kisses her cheek. As he departs, he advises her not to be surprised when Morga comes here. Leah is confused as she wonders who Morga is. He explains that he is a Korkan who knows magic and is good at it. Unfortunately, he is a bit weird, but still. Inside another tent, a man is busy staring at a potion bottle. He believes today is the day his abilities will finally stand out. He reveals that today will be a day of violence and thuggery to Haven, who is standing behind and watching him warily. He says Aries people should be most wary as they are prone to not holding back and letting out their anger. Haven wonders if the man isn't tired. He has been doing this since he arrived. He abruptly turns around, scaring Haven so much he drops to the floor and covers his ears. The man doesn't mind and warns him to be more careful with his steps, especially today, and not let negative emotions take over. This is Morga, the head of the tribe that inherited the blood of the snakes, explains his split tongue, and is also skilled in sorcery. Just like the gypsies, the Korkans were also born with a natural talent for sorcery. The more their magical abilities were used, the stronger they became with each generation. Fortunately, Morga could use magic as easily as breathing, which greatly enhanced their abilities. All Korkans greatly benefited from Morga's ability. His predictions seem to have some sort of power that affects reality, especially the negative ones. This was confirmed after many experiments. Because of this, other Korkans avoided him, fearing the power of his predictions. However, the one who suffers from his experiments all the time is Haven. Presently glaring at Morga, he wonders why he is the one in charge of escorting him. He thinks of Jenin, who abandoned him and ran away, leaving him to face this big boss all alone. Morga spots Leah and stops walking. Staring at her, he wonders what he should do about this. The situation is much more dangerous than he thought before. The hunting ground, the royal families of Estia and Korkan meet finally. Prince thanks Isha Khan for coming all the way here as the king of Korkan. Serdina asks after them, hoping they have been comfortable during their stay. Leah wonders if no one is going to talk about what happened during their previous lunch. Isha Khan addresses her suddenly, asking her if there is any beast she would like to see so he can bring it back for her. Blaine interrupts him, telling him not to accept any requests from her. Isha Khan wants to know what Blaine is so afraid of. Does he think he will take away the princess? Blaine retorts that he has nothing to be scared of. Thrall, he is sure that the king is not one to take away things that already have an owner. His words make Leah uncomfortable. Isha Khan smiled wildly. He perceives this will be a very fun hunt. Blaine replies that he would be looking forward to it. Serdina says she is relieved, as this hunt promises to be more fun than she imagined. Only Leah stands in one corner looking extremely worried. Examining Isha Khan on his horse, Blaine concludes that it is just like a beast riding a beast. His emotions suddenly turn violent as he spots the handkerchief around the king's wrist. Belongs to Leah. From his initial mockery to fury, Blaine's emotions change when he sees the handkerchief around the king's wrist. Blaine is in danger. He wonders how it came to this. Just because he saw that cursed handkerchief, he got so angry and made a mistake that he would normally never make. He stares straight into the eyes of the boar that he misfired at and failed to kill, knowing he is going to die. Amidst people's screams of "Your Highness," a strong figure appears suddenly and uses a spear to pierce the boar, killing it. Shikan says it is done. He even praises the prince, saying it was his first arrow that made them catch it. He mockingly says everyone should give the credit to the prince. Blaine is so angry he can't breathe. He coldly states that the animal belongs to no one. Two men continue riding side by side. Isha Khan reminds the prince of his words not to covet something that has an owner. However, if the thing doesn't have an owner, or rather is not an object to be owned, then the rules will change. Blaine demands to know what he means by that, but Isha Khan leisurely says nothing more, nothing less. To him, Leah has never belonged to anyone and she is not an object. Whoever she chooses is entirely her choice. Turning to Blaine, he informs him that Leah will never choose him, so he should stop being so worried and infatuated. Or is Blaine considering a marriage within the family? His words expose Blaine's darkest desires and leave the man speechless. Back at the camp, the queen questions Leah about what she is thinking about so deeply. It has been a while since she and Leah have been together, but the girl is not even talking. Our girl apologizes. Queen assures her she has nothing to be sorry for, as she must have been occupied with negotiations lately. Leah agrees, but in her mind feels something is wrong. She wonders why she has been anxious all this time. Sardina pats her cheek and urges her not to work herself too hard. She believes it was a ridiculous idea from the start. There is no way they can align with savages. She calls them vulgar beings. Leah understands now that the queen doesn't want peace between the two empires. She tries to figure out why. The queen is backing up her son's claim to the throne. Accepting this peace treaty will only benefit her son. It is the smartest way to control the border. The queen also wanted to support her son and get political advantage. She could have led the negotiations with Isha Khan instead of letting her handle it. She wonders if it is because the queen is a gypsy. The queen suddenly asks Leah if she has gained some weight. When she sees Leah's guilty look, she tells her not to disappoint her, and Leah promises to be mindful. Sardina urges her to call her mother. Leah doesn't want to, but ends up calling her mother anyways. She always feels like a small, powerless child again, anytime she faces Sardina. A servant interrupts them and asks the queen to please hurry up. Something is wrong with the crown prince. Over at the crown prince's side, he has pulled a bow and has aimed it at Isha Khan. He dares the man to keep talking. Korkan King isn't afraid, however, and asks Blaine if he really thinks he can pull that bowstring. He calls Blaine a man-child still wrapped in his mother's skirts, only capable of following orders. His words destroy the little bit of reason Blaine has left, and he fires the arrow. It hits Isha Khan on his right shoulder, but he doesn't even flinch and pulls it out. He advises Blaine to think and see if he has ever accomplished something on his own. Right now, they are both alone and there is no one to shield him, so what will he do? Crown Prince's aides are trying to stop Jenin, but she reminds them it was the Crown Prince of Estia who first started this fight. On the other side, the king has loaded his bow and it is his turn to aim at Blaine. He doesn't hit him, however, but fires at his horse, causing the animal to panic. It shakes off the prince and he falls to the ground. His aides suddenly scream in horror as they see what is about to happen. Blaine has no idea and is still trying to get up, but the horse in its panic steps on him. Sardina is mad with grief. She glares at Isha Khan like a demon. He calmly tells her it was an unfortunate incident. She isn't fooled and vows to make him regret this. Leah stares down at the body of the prince laid out in horror. She hears Isha Khan defend himself and tells the queen it was simply self-defense. Leah is pacing around in her bedroom, worrying about the recent events. The hunting festival ended in a mess. Even though Blaine shot the first arrow, everyone knew it was Isha Khan's provocation that led to it. And now, because of their fiery attitudes, all the dreams of peaceful negotiations became impossible. She feels there is something strange, though. Why did Blaine get so agitated when Isha Khan mentioned inbreeding marriage? After all, it was a fairly known practice in their empire, but it is only allowed when it's inevitable. So why did Blaine act like it was trash that they had to hide? She begins to worry about their plans, the tax reform and the peace agreement. What will they do now? There is a knock on her window, startling her. She turns to look and spots Isha-kan standing there. She immediately rushes over to open the window for him and lets him in. Two embrace each other tightly. He inquires as to if she has had dinner and offers for the two of them to go eat something delicious if she would like. Her focus isn't on that, as she demands to know if his shoulder is fine. He acts pitiful and says it isn't, causing her to worry. He lifts her chin and tells her he doesn't get hurt. However, because of her, he has gotten hurt twice today. If she does feel guilty, she should accompany him to eat dinner to make up for it. After all, he is a patient and needs to eat properly. Leah feels a little melancholic. Now that the negotiations have fallen through, she believes the Korkens will soon have to return to the desert. She just has a few days left with him. She wonders if everything will go back to the way it was before. Seeing her sad face, Isha-kan knows what she is thinking. He tells her she should be aware of what is going to happen soon. Korkens will be expelled sooner or later. Even if the king doesn't punish them, he will ask them to leave. The Eschens believe they can't devote too much power or resources to the negotiations without risking their empire. Kissing her hands, he tells her to come to the desert with him and be his bride. He tries to describe how beautiful the miles of gold sand in their land is, in order to persuade her. He tells her it is not just sand in his land, but they also have a meadow where they live. Her favorite flowers even bloom there. He says she can also plant moonrise flowers if she wants to. She could have anything she desires in his kingdom. He vows to make it that way, so she should please come with him. Two start to kiss, but Leah's mind is not here. Within her, she thinks everything Isha-kan said was a falsehood that sounds sweet as honey. Even if he were to tell her she is to die now, she can't help but like him. In fact, she has liked him since the day she first met him. Since that time they spent a night together, there hasn't been a single day she hasn't thought about him. Even while she knew it was dangerous, she still stayed close to him. Thanks to him, she got to like her shattered life a little more. He broke the chains that shackled her entire life. She really wishes she could escape to that desert of golden sand, but she knows it is impossible. From the very day she was born with the name Estia, it became impossible. She apologizes to Isha-kan. He is furious and asks her if she doesn't think her mindset is a little weird. All her dedication to Estia, her thoughts of wanting revenge against the royal family, yet not daring to confront them and instead choosing to kill herself, all of them are very strange. Leah wonders why he is so mad about it. She explains her whole life has been dedicated to Estia. Her life is for her kingdom. It is at this point she realizes something is wrong. When did she start to think like this? She feels the shadow of Sardina all around her. She becomes dizzy and suddenly falls, scaring Isha-kan. He holds her, screaming her name. She starts crying and says her head feels like it's going to split open. She thinks she is going to die. Isha-kan feels his heart break. He hugs her close, telling her it is okay. He blames himself for not finding her soon enough. He kisses her forehead and tells her to take her time. He will give her a little while longer to think and will ask for her answer again before he leaves. He tells her rather than being the princess of Estia or the wife of Margrave, being the queen of the Korkens could be more fun for her. He knows she really doesn't want to marry Margrave and urges her to think of what is best for her. He is sure she will miss him. Leah is a bit confused. No matter how she tries, she can't seem to figure out his mind. She takes off her clothes and asks him to make it so that even during the day and late at night she will still miss him. Isha-kan is fully stunned when he hears her words. He asks her if she really knows what she is saying and what those words mean. She doesn't seem to know and he relaxes, saying it is fine. She doesn't necessarily need to know. Kissing her, he warns her not to say that to another man. So from now on, since she keeps saying she doesn't want to leave with him, he will teach her how to pleasure herself on her own. She starts trembling and he offers to cover her eyes if she is feeling embarrassed. He holds up a handkerchief and she recognizes it as the one she gave Blaine. He tells her he got it while hunting a beast and asks if she likes it. He laments about not taking more if he had known she would like it. She orders him to stop. He bites her shoulder when she says this. She thinks to herself that if he keeps doing that, she will have marks all over her neck again. She asks him to stop biting her neck, but he just orders her to close her eyes. He uses the handkerchief to blindfold her, as he informs her he has realized something thanks to her. He knows now that he is a very jealous man. She is a bit surprised. He reveals he felt that way on the day of the hunting competition when he imagined her saying things like this to another man. He notices she has gained weight. She becomes nervous, wondering what he means by that. She feels it is obvious why she gained weight. He has been feeding her different things pretty often. As a result, she increased the amount of food she ate considerably. She discovers that he has also helped her calm her emotions and control herself. Suddenly, she can't imagine how she used to manage her life before him. He has broken all her barriers. He starts teaching her how to pleasure herself. Since she can't see anything, the sounds, the feelings make her so sensitive she can't hold on any longer. According to royal etiquette, she was taught that touching oneself was bad and immoral, and she can only receive pleasure from her husband. However, it feels so good doing it herself. They continue their exploration, and he tells her to make sure she remembers it clearly, everything he is doing to her on this bed. So every time she lies on this bed and covers herself up with the blankets, she can remember the moment where he taught her everything. Unable to bear it anymore, she collapses in his arms. Holding her, he begs her not to forget. After asking her not to forget, he takes off the blindfold and lifts her up. Her eyes widens in panic, as she wonders if he is really still going to do it with her after that. Although she had been feeling him beneath her for a while. She hopes he continues to think about her and really wants to know what he wants too. She calls his name and says she wants to make him feel good also. She wants to know how she can do that. He sighs, saying she keeps saying dangerous things. He lets her know she would have run away screaming from this room if she knew what he just thought about at that moment. Two continue their intimate actions. At a moment, Isha Khan can't hold himself and begs her to run away with him. He promises to take care of everything so she can just come to the desert with him. If anyone asks, he can just say he kidnapped her against her will. He stops moving and looks into her eyes. He is willing to bear all the blame. Her becoming the queen of Korkan and entering a predatory marriage with him, she can just say she was forced to do it. Isha Khan offers to be the bad guy and says he forced Leah to marry him against her will. She just needs to say everything is his fault. She doesn't need to take responsibility for anything. Hearing this makes Leah happy. She wonders if a proposal so wild and sweet exists anywhere else in this world. She knows he has stolen her away, and she really wants to give him the answer he is looking for. However, she can only do that when she sees that everything holding her back is meaningless. Maybe then they could find a new beginning in the world he has torn apart. But somehow she can't seem to tell him this. She wants to ask for help, but she can't seem to do that. Something is always holding her back. Isha Khan scolds her for always being dishonest and bites her nose. She is getting really good at lying. He starts another round of passionate loving, but she begs him to stop as she is too tired. He says she lies so convincingly, he has no choice but to believe her. She wants to argue that she doesn't lie, but he cuts her off. They switch positions and their passion goes on for a long time. After they are done, Leah complains she's hungry. Isha Khan remembers they never ate dinner. Holding her, he says she should have told him she was hungry. He suggests they go to the Korkan Palace to eat dinner and promises to send someone to clean her bed. He will bring her back before sunrise. She doesn't want to and complains she is sleepy. A few minutes later, she is woken up by the smell of something delicious. She opens her eyes to see a full table of food and Isha Khan, who promises to feed her. She is too tired to hold the spoon herself, so doesn't turn down his offer. He feeds her bite by bite and suggests they also eat again when they are done next time. She only replies that she is sleepy. He tells her she already ate more than usual and lifts her up. She says next time she will tell him the answer he wants. He vows in return to bring her safely to her palace. Instead of Isha Khan to let her go, he keeps holding her as she sleeps in his arms while he smokes. Havan approaches and he orders him to summon Morga. It is morning and Morga has arrived. Standing outside the king's room with Havan, he asks if Morga wants to discuss constellations with Isha Khan. The wizard is exasperated and warns him not to speak such nonsense. It is clear Havan is enjoying frustrating him as he laughs behind his back. Morga, however, is serious, as Leah's condition was already severe the last time he saw her. They can't afford to let it deteriorate even further. Entering into the room, he greets Isha Khan but is stunned when he sees Leah. The king introduces her as the Princess of Estia. Morga admits that her beauty is absolutely breathtaking up close. It is totally different from when he saw her the first time on the hunting grounds. He can understand now why Margrave is so obsessed with her. If someone so indifferent could warm up even slightly. Morga stops himself from thinking like that quickly. He tells Isha Khan it might be fine for her to inhale tobacco smoke, but it is still a potent medicine. He must make sure she doesn't take it through her mouth, but only inhale the smoke. Isha Khan says he understands. Morga approaches to check her. He pokes her but her blood comes out green. She has different layers of spell delicately entwined and placed on her. Her case is beyond severe. He tells Isha Khan that although he is not certain of the other conditions, the matter he mentioned earlier is clear. Leah has been put under a strong brainwashing spell, and that is what makes her so devoted to Estia. The brainwashing started from her own mind. Her love for Estia most likely planted the initial seed. What began as a small influence gradually grew over time. And now it has ultimately led to her prioritizing the nation even above herself. This devotion is what binds her to the royal family, and without the royal family, Estia itself cannot exist. Morga reveals that the enchantment has endured for so long, it has fused with her original thoughts, making it impossible to separate them. If he recklessly attempts to remove the spell, her mind will collapse. The spell has merged with her values, beliefs, and thoughts, and calling it brainwashing is no longer accurate. Her devotion to Estia has become the very essence of her existence. Living like this, she is destined to be used by Margrave without leaving a trace of herself behind. Morga feels it is really heartbreaking. Isha Khan tells Morga that he gave her a small push earlier, and as they expected, her reaction was so intense. He describes how terrible her situation was. He reveals that she once told him she wanted to die, and asks Morga if that is also part of the spell. Morga says it isn't. It is just her trying to protect herself. She must have tried to resist the spell in her own way, and must have subconsciously fought against the brainwashing, only to fail over and over again. In the end, her final and last resistance is death. Isha Khan can't control his rage anymore and demands to know if he is allowed to kill the Empress. Morga reveals that there are spells that bind lives together. Until they fully understand the depth of the enchantment placed on the princess, they cannot act recklessly. Morga expresses that his most pressing challenge is that the Empress' power far exceeds his expectations. It is something he might not even be able to handle on his own. For every successful spell the Empress has cast on others, she grows stronger with each. And she has cast a lot of spells. Confronting her with only strength alone is impossible. To identify all the spells and try to break them, they will have to return to Kurken and seek the help of other sorcerers. They need to bring the princess back to Kurken. Isha Khan says he sees and tells Morga he will handle that. Blaine is dreaming and remembers his last encounter with Isha Khan where they exchanged words. The nightmare causes him to wake up in a panic. His mother has been staying with him and hugs him quickly. Looking around, he sees her sorcerer's items and calls out to her. He tells her he thinks he likes the princess. Not just to possess her, he wants her heart. His mother tries to convince him otherwise, assuring him he just wants to own her but doesn't have any feelings for her. She reminds her son she has promised him before that once he becomes emperor, he can have countless women like Leah, so he just has to do as she says. He objects, however, but can't refuse. His mother always says things like that and provides him with the finest and most cherished items. Before he knew it, he became intoxicated with them, allowing her to control him like a puppet. He wonders if this is what love feels like. However, it is too late for him to turn back now. Instead of cutting this thread, he can only hold on tightly. Kissing her son's forehead, she tells him they are almost there and it's just a little further. And at the end of it all, if he wants Leah's heart, she can give it to him. Blaine stops his mother and demands that she give him Leah's heart first. She should give him her heart, and in return, he will do everything his mother asks of him. Leah wakes up slowly. She looks around and calls out for Isha Khan but can't find him. She wonders if he has left already. Her hand touches a note placed on the bed. It's from him, asking if they are still going to the desert together. Reading the note, Leah is glad to see his handwriting has improved a bit. It is better than last time. She reckons it must be hard for him to write with such big hands. Her thoughts travel to the events of last night. Although she was usually attacked by frequent headaches, the level of pain she experienced yesterday she had never felt before. However, her body and mind feels lighter now. She wonders if it is because of Isha-Khan. Regarding his pleas for her to come to the desert with him, she feels that would not be a bad idea. Everything in Estia is broken anyways. Peace agreement and tax reform act have all fallen through. They were not able to get anything right. She makes up her mind to keep living so she can make everything better later on, than for her to die in vain. She reasons that if she becomes the Queen of Korken, she can stop them from invading her country. She could even enforce meetings between the two empires, and establish trade meetings between the two groups. The best reason for her, however, is that she will be next to Isha-Khan. She blushes as she thinks of this. If she becomes the Queen of Korken and gets her freedom back, she wouldn't have to live with the identity of the princess but can just be herself. Stepping outside to the balcony, she admires the blue sky and wonders what the desert of the Korkens would look like. According to what they predicted, the emperor ordered the Korkens to be expelled. However, knowing that both parties were at fault, he gave them the grace of 15 days to leave in peace. Leah knows that the days she has left to think and make her decision have been shortened. She has been so busy, however, with her duties that she couldn't even think about it clearly. She wonders what her man is doing right now. Melissa helps the princess with her hair, while informing her Margrave has requested a meeting with her. The maid thinks it must be because he is traveling to the western border soon, so he wants to see her before leaving. Leah orders her to accept the request as she would meet him. She mentions that she hasn't seen Baroness Sinnel. Melissa replies that she took sick leave. Leah does not buy that excuse, and Melissa explains she was the one who helped the Baroness handle things with the headmaid. She is apologetic because she didn't let her mistress know due to how busy she was. Leah has figured it out and knows the Baroness is the one that stole the dress. She makes up her mind to visit the Baroness this afternoon during her free time. She wonders if it would be impolite to visit without prior notice, but concludes that some situations do not need etiquette. Leah is having tea with the Baroness. Looking at the woman, she is sure the maids wouldn't have driven her out as a criminal without reason. The Baroness tells Leah she has been too sick to come to work, and so she sends other maids to help out. She expresses her regret for having to leave like that. Leah knows the Baroness is acting differently and feels this change is suspicious. She wonders if she feels guilty or in debt to her. She is a bit sad that the woman didn't tell her about her situation or ask her for help. The Baroness apologizes and explains what happened that day. She was asked to take out the purple dress and give it to another servant outside. Leah wants to know who gave her that order, and the Baroness replies it was Melissa. Leah is shocked and subconsciously denies it. Could her personal maid really do something like that? She knows it has to be between the two of them. Either Sinnel is lying or Melissa is. However, she can't fathom why Melissa would do such a thing. She has been with her since Leah was a little girl. Seeing the Baroness weeping pitifully, she doesn't feel like the woman is lying either. Leah desperately wants to believe the two. In that case, there is only one other explanation, and it has to do with Sardina's magic. Thinking back, she recalls the strange headache she had after Isha-Khan asked her about her weird behavior. She wonders if it was also the Queen's doing. She thanks the Baroness for telling her this. The situation is complicated, so it would be better for the Baroness to stay on break for a while. She uses the excuse of cleaning up her belongings to give the woman an envelope. She says she has already shared it equally with her other maids. The Baroness hastily refuses, saying she can't accept something like that after what she has done. Leah assures her it is a reward for all the things she had done already for her, leaving the Baroness touched. Leah is back at the palace. She has resolved not to jump into conclusions without talking to Melissa one more time. She can't also rule out the possibility of magic interfering in all this. When she enters the palace, she finds it suspiciously empty and wonders where everyone is. It has been cold and quiet since she entered, and there is this smell of grass. When she enters her room, she finds Sardina there. She is surprised, and Sardina asks why she is. It is just a mother visiting her daughter. She says she will have to use this and throw it away. Leah feels a sense of danger. She knows she has to escape. She tries to open the door but finds it locked. She uses all her strength and even begs, but the door remains locked. She suddenly lets out a groan and her eyes widen in shock. Behind her, Sardina smiles wickedly and stands up. Leah collapses onto the floor holding her ears. Her face is twisted in agony. Tears and spittle run down her face. Looking down on her, the queen isn't moved, and even says Leah seems to be more affected than she expected. She praises Morga for doing a good job. She hasn't dug deep, but it seems he managed to erase the 4 years of magic she had been applying on Leah. Queen isn't discouraged, however, and vows to find some gaps so she can eliminate that inconvenience. Leah is in so much pain. Her head feels like it is about to explode. With a simple move of the queen's finger, the pain increases. Leah can't bear it any longer and tries to crawl away. Queen laughs at her and bends to mock her, asking if it hurts so much. While asking Leah if she had ever had to strangle someone she loved to death, she starts to strangle her. She tells Leah she hasn't had to put a knife into the heart of someone she loved. She asks Leah if she wants to end up like that and if she wants to suffer. Leah tearfully says she doesn't. Queen lets her go and warns her that she has to stop thinking about useless things. She orders Leah not to tell her son about her having to treat Leah like this, as she knows he won't like to see her in this state. She warns her not to tell anyone else also. She wants this to be their little mother and daughter secret. Queen orders Leah to start managing her weight again. According to her, Leah has gained a lot of weight and her wedding is upcoming, so she has to manage her diet. Smiling happily, she says it is time for her to leave and thanks Leah for a nice talk. She leaves the poor girl on the floor. After the queen's departure, Leah is in despair. She doesn't think she can ever really leave this place. Would she even be able to live freely as herself with a body riddled with magic like hers? She remembers the queen's words about hurting someone she loved. She knows the queen can control her to do such. She will never be able to see the Korkan desert or the sands in this life. She can never be with Isha Khan. Time passes quickly after that day. Leah, dressed in black, is overlooking a field of flowers. She orders the aide to pull out all the flowers immediately, as they will be planting a new type of flower. The aide is surprised as he knows Moonrise is the princess's favorite flower. She denies and says it isn't. Her eyes dim as she remembers Sardina going in and out of the royal palace as she pleases. She even called on Leah to serve her multiple times. Queen went as far as to get her measured and started planning on how to make her lose weight. She said as the flower of Estia, Leah has to always look impeccable. She reminded the queen of her promise to set her maids free if she behaved well. Turns out the queen imprisoned all the maids from her mansion. Queen told her she hasn't forgotten, but promises to release them only when Leah is about to leave for Odenburg for her wedding. She informed Leah she will bring her back to the royal family after a while, but for now, she has to be with Margrave. Back to the present, Leah is still thinking about Sardina's words about bringing her back to the royal family. She makes up her mind to hang herself before her first wedding night with Margrave. She has brainwashed herself into believing that the love she shared with Isha Khan in the past was fake, and all he wanted was to learn of Estia's secrets. This is the only way she can convince herself to let go of that love. If she can let go of such love, she can also let go of her life without remorse. That moment, the man she thinks of approaches and she greets him formally. He tells her there are many other ways to reject someone. He knows it is late, but he can't bring himself to sit still, knowing she will have a hard time in the royal family. He embraces her tightly and promises to stop talking. However, he wants to hold her for a while. Although Leah said she has let go of the love, we can see she is still affected as she starts to cry. Even if everything is against her, is it really wrong for her to desire this warmth? As they kiss, she knows she has to push him away and can't meet him anymore, but yet he keeps giving her hope. Isha Khan examines her from top to bottom and notes she looks thinner than he has ever seen her. She asks him to leave, but he refuses. He demands to know if she is really staying with Margrave willingly. He informs her he is leaving tomorrow and wants to know if she has anything to say to him. Leah coldly tells him their relationship didn't mean anything from the very beginning. She never gave him a proper answer before because she just wanted to have fun for a while. She mocks him, asking if he needs her to pay for his sexual services. She says she didn't know the Korkins were so desperate for money. Isha Khan stares at her and says if her plan is to make him angry, then she has succeeded. Leah knows this is disgusting. After receiving so much care and affection from him, the fact that she is now treating it all like it meant nothing is so disgusting that she can't stand it. In her mind, she begs Isha Khan to save her. With tears running down her face, she wishes he can take her out of this place. He holds her hands and asks her what Estia means to her. She replies it is her everything. It is the land she loves the most and the one she will protect with all her life. She is born a princess and she will die a princess. Although her mouth is saying all these things, inside her Leah is screaming for it to stop. She begs herself to stop talking, but it seems like someone else is controlling her body. She tells Isha Khan not to interfere with her life any further and to stop causing trouble. She turns around angrily and tells him she is leaving. She wishes him a safe journey home. Behind her, Isha Khan asks her what kind of life it is. Is it the same life he has been trying to protect? Leah tells herself she can't look back. She can't see him ever again. He suddenly grabs her and orders her to listen to him carefully. This life as a princess she values so much, he promises to trample and crush. He vows to make it so that the Empress can never force her to say such things again. He begs her to run away with him somewhere else. Queen is in her sorcery room. There is a boiling cauldron in which she places a long strand of silver hair that most likely belongs to Leah inside. She is a bit tired and sits down. She thinks of how smoothly everything has been going. Picking up a bottle, she sees no use for it. The king's hair can only last her a year at most. Due to that, she had to manipulate the Countess Melissa into bringing her some of Leah's hair, confirming our earlier guess. Thanks to that, she was able to keep practicing her magic. The sorcery she prepared is almost ready. On the day Blaine sits on the throne, her sorcery ritual will be completed. The blood of the lowest will overcome the blood of the nobility. That day, all the arrogant nobles will have to kneel before her, and she will accomplish the greatest feat no one in the history of this continent has ever done. She quickly calms herself and decides to go pay a little visit to her son. Blaine is uncomfortable with the fact that Leah will have to marry Margrave. He asks his mother if that is necessary. His mother replies that it is because he isn't the ruler yet. In her mind, however, she declares that if it wasn't because of his interest in the girl, she would have gotten rid of her a long time ago. Fortunately for Leah, she had never interrupted her plans and always seemed like a soulless doll. She, however, feels that the girl has become more difficult recently. Some of the spells she used on her were broken, so she had to use a lot of effort to keep her here for Blaine. She did this to increase her son's desire and thirst for power, so she finds it worth it. She also thinks it is fun to plan how to get rid of them afterward. Blaine doesn't understand why he has to put so much effort into something that is his birthright. Sardina reminds him that she is his mother and everything she does is for his good. She only wants what is best for him. He reminds her to keep her promise, and she promises she will. She will do whatever he wants as long as he remembers that he has to become king. The mother and son embrace, and he promises he will obey her. Havan spots his lord and calls out to him. He asks about the princess. Isha Khan reveals that she didn't want to come and he was rejected. Havan tries to comfort his king, but Isha Khan is aware there is nothing they can do now. They should have just taken her while they were here. He gives instructions to his aides to prepare for battle. It seems they are planning to take the princess away by force. Isha Khan doesn't want the princess to take any responsibility. He is fine with being the bad guy anyways. With that, his people all get ready to move. It is time for their king to go steal his wife. Korkins have left the kingdom of Estia. Unlike their noticeable and confident entrance, their departure was rather quiet and reserved. They left early in the morning escorted by the royal guards. No members of the royal family or any noble was there to send them off. Our princess has locked herself up in her room. She couldn't take a single step outside. Her heart was broken by the thought that she couldn't even see him one last time. She can't help but wish they worked out, but resigns herself to the thought that this is how things are supposed to be. In the cold, lonely dining room, Leah is having dinner with the emperor. The preparation for her to go to the border has been finalized. She doesn't have much to pack, and since she won't even be able to bring any of her maids along with her, There is even less for her to get ready. This is the last meal she will share with the emperor before leaving for the border. Although she expected it, this meal still feels like sharing dinner with a cold corpse. Resentment fills her heart and she directly asks her father why he left her mother for Sardina. She wants to know what he likes about the woman so much and if he is even aware of all she has done. The king doesn't reply. Leah calmly tells him Estia will be doomed and leaves the table first. Going down the steps, she remembers that this was the place she first met Isha Khan. First, she was very surprised. Walking through the palace, the place is filled with so many memories of the both of them together. All she can remember now are the moments she shared with him. Looking up at the sunshine pouring into the hallways, she expresses her desire to live and not die. But unfortunately, she feels this is the only path she can take. It is only with her death that Isha Khan will let go and forget her. Then, everything can go back to how it first was. Sitting in her carriage leading her out of the city, Leah comments on how brief her marriage ceremony was. The only good thing is that her maids managed to return back safely. She left a few of her things for them to live peacefully. She is sure they will be fine for a while with that. Leah has vowed to take her revenge on the royal family by leaving a stain on their reputation, which Sardina loves so much. That will be her last act of revenge, to get back at the woman for everything she has done to her. Thinking about it, she is sure Sardina did not manage to cast her magic on Margrave probably because he was away for too long, weakening the effect of the spells on his mind. Leah is aware that is the reason why she was married to him, so she can be the queen's puppet and discover all of Margrave's secrets. She, however, doesn't want that life and won't let that happen. She has spent the majority of her life dedicating herself to the royal family and the empire, as was her duty. But now, she doesn't want to give up. Even if Sardina just sees her as a tool, she has made up her mind to take her revenge on the royal family, even if it has to be at the cost of her own life. That is the only thing she has left now. This is what Leah thought. But a look out the window changed her mind. 'Cause there he is. Isha Khan is here. Flashback to the past, and a younger Isha Khan is tied up and gagged. He wonders how long he has been trapped here. He is hungry and the wounds on his body hurt so much. He wonders if he is really going to die just like this. Silently, he begs to die. He pleads to any gods that can hear him to please allow him to die. Suddenly, the door to where he is kept is pushed open. A young girl with silver hair enters. It is a young Leah. Sighting the boy, tears fill her eyes and she reaches out to him. Seems the boy's last prayer to the gods asking them to help him if they can't kill him was answered. The same way she grabbed his hands when he was younger, it is Isha Khan's turn to grab her hand like that. The gods have shown him the person that brought him out. She is his light, his salvation, and also his bride. Leah has teary eyes and wonders how this happened. He asks her if she doesn't remember him, and reminds her of his promise to ruin the life she had already planned out. In the Estia's royal mansion, Blaine is in Leah's room thinking about her. She is gone, and even though he knows he is supposed to wait, all he wants to do is to run, get in a carriage, and chase after her. Just imagining her spending her first night with Margrave is sending him into fits of jealousy. He tried to comfort himself with the fact that the man might not be after her body. After all, if he was, he would have tried to get her drunk and make her sleep with him somehow. Blaine has only one desperate wish, that Leah can look at him the way she looks at other men. With eyes full of love, a blush on her cheeks, and a warm smile on her face. Everyone in the Empire already knows that Margrave goes around sleeping with prostitutes. He even chooses prostitutes that look like Leah, disrespecting her greatly. Blaine comes up with the twisted idea of letting her suffer with Margrave for a while, so when he rescues her, he can see redemption in her eyes. Maybe then, she would start to like him without the need for magic or force. He suddenly spots something on the table. It is an envelope and he grabs it. He is reading it when someone pushes the door open quickly and claims there is a big problem. The savages have raided the princess' wedding carriage. Blaine crushes the letter in his hands and screams for the princess, scaring the guard a little. When the guard seems a little confused, he asks again for the princess. The man reveals she has been kidnapped. Those savages have captured her. Blaine is enraged and claims he knew this would happen. He vows to chase the savages down himself. Leah is struggling desperately. She asks Isha Khan to let her go and put her down, but he doesn't listen and keeps running. Morga appears and directs Isha Khan to a carriage. He drops the squirming Leah on the seats. To the side, Morga urges him to give her a potion to take, so it can cancel the tracking spell on her. Leah protests and says she doesn't want to, but Isha Khan forces her mouth open and dumps the medicine in. She drinks it and while coughing asks him why. He tells her it shouldn't be surprising that the king of the Korkans engages in predatory marriage, should it? Leah begs him not to do this, but soon falls asleep. Staring at her sleeping face, Isha Khan declares she can resent him all she wants. Side, Isha Khan approaches his aides. Jenin informs him the royal family has started chasing them, and it is said the prince himself is the one leading the main force. Isha Khan feels that the chase started earlier than he expected. They tried to disrupt them by spreading fake information about the route of their carriage beforehand, but their biggest problem is the tracking spell that Leah is still under. According to Morga, it is very easy to track those whose minds have been tampered with this kind of magic. That is the reason why Leah was fed that potion, but it is just a temporary solution. The best thing is for them to find a safe place to stop, so Morga can dispel the spell himself. He asks Morga about the Empress, and the wizard assures them they don't have anything to worry about from her yet. To be safe, however, it will be better for him to stick closely to Leah. King gives him permission. Contrary to what Morga expected, the Queen's powers here are much stronger than he expected. However, it seems the potion he made is working. If they succeed in interfering with the Queen's witchcraft, they might be able to safely bring Leah into the desert peacefully, while she is still asleep. But right now, they can only leave her like this. To be safe, Morga tied her up in case she tried jumping out of the carriage. But seeing her sleeping so peacefully, he reckons it might be fine to release her. Just as he undoes her bands, her eyes suddenly open, shocking Morga. Potion immediately shatters and Leah stretches a hand out to grab his neck. He yells to those outside to quickly stop the carriage. Although he knew her condition was severe from the first time he saw her in the forest, he could only tell from the beginning that the magic cast on her wasn't done outwardly. This method is something most common people and even those well-versed in magic wouldn't recognize, unless they used potion to reveal it. But even then, the magic used on Leah is different from that. Morga thought the greatest way to control someone was through brainwashing sorcery, but he was completely wrong. Queen has made Leah into a doll of her own. She just covered it up with a bunch of brainwashing tricks to disguise the truth. He hurriedly reports to the king that Leah's condition has surpassed the control of her own body. With her like this, they won't be able to stop the Empress from tracking her unless they perform an even stronger sorcery on her. He blames himself for this. Isha Khan tells him to stand up, as this is not the time to cast blame around. He knows his man did his best. Haven interrupts them, and reveals they will be caught by the Imperial Guards if they spend too much time here. He proposes for them to leave the princess and Morga here first, while they deal with the guards. Morga objects to this as he needs Lord Isha Khan to be around. He needs his blood. Haven assures them he can handle the troops together with Jenin. They plan to raid the troops at night when normal humans can't see clearly. They will have a better chance of winning then. Isha Khan vows that tonight will be a night the people of Estia will never forget. Morga has resorted to the last method available to treat Leah, feeding her Isha Khan's blood. King quickly cuts himself and lets some of his blood drip into her mouth. Immediately, Leah starts convulsing. Enjoying this recap so far? Comment part 4 below. And also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ciao!